We'll talk about that off camera.
So what, like 2000?
I have opinions.
We can talk about them on camera too if you want.
No.
Why not?
Let's talk some.
We're gonna retransform your YouTube channel. All right, we are back, huh? We're back at the 9 Club, everybody. Today, we have a very special guest. Mr. Ben De Gros is with us. How are you, dude?
I'm doing well, thank you.
Hey, thank you for making the trip down here to Vancouver. I know you skated the whole way. Appreciate that, man, just for the 9 Club.
I feel like it.
No, thanks so much for coming, dude. This is amazing, bro. Another internet skateboarder on the internet, I should say. We've turned into that.
I like that.
You know?
That's like the politically correct term for skateboarders who are sensitive that they're YouTubers. A skateboarder on the internet. Like not.
Yes.
I'm not a YouTuber.
But I think most skateboarders are on the internet anyway.
This is true.
Yeah.
But
all skaters are pretty much on the internet.
This is so true.
there is a stigma with a YouTuber, though. A lot of people embrace it.
There's a reason, and we can dive into
Please,
that.
let's do it.
I mean, we don't need to right
No,
now.
I'd love to. No, let's go.
Let's get into it.
Yeah,
We're there.
yeah.
Let's jump right in.
Okay. So YouTubers, like why I would not necessarily want to be called a YouTuber is because I don't like being associated with the cheesy things that many people do for success on YouTube. Clickbait being the first and most obvious example.
True.
The second would be like, along with the clickbait, you would have, 1 minute that's actually related to your topic and the rest of it is just like vapid, useless filler content.
This is kind of standard issue YouTube stuff you're talking about right here, for sure.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And it's hard to not do that when you feel pressured to gain an income from YouTube or when you see success from those methods. Like if it's been working for you.
I think it's an interesting game because you have to play the game a little bit, a little bit, right? You have to.
But my rule is like never go full YouTube.
Okay.
Go partial.
But wait a minute though. Like here's the thing. We got to like preface like the audience listening, maybe they've never heard of Ben De Gros before, but I mean, you've had a YouTube channel for like 6 years.
Yeah.
Very popular, man. People love you. You review skate stuff, you do all kinds of different things. Let's not just put you in a box of reviewing stuff, but you do a lot of different things. You DIY stuff and
I think I put myself into a box of reviewing stuff.
okay. But is that bad?
It's bad if I no longer want to do that content, but that's what people want to see. That's when it becomes bad.
So you didn't want to do that in the first place?
No, I didn't mind at first. In the beginning, I was actually quite interested in reviewing products. And, like I started the whole thing by, I ordered a box of primitive boards. I'm like, oh, okay, Shane O'Neill, Carlos Ribeiro, those are some of the bigger names, like some of the stuff that I saw. And I'm like, if I review that board, just the fact that their name is there should get a little bit of traction. And it did. It worked. Like, I think because people they'd see that name, they'd search it up, and they'd be like, I wonder what that board's like. Board reviews alone will not gain you much views at all. It's a decent way to initially get traction, but in the long run, it's very small views.
Are you saying because it just gets old after a while? Like this guy, I've seen 8 different board reviews from him. Or is that what you're talking about? Or is it something different?
I think the funny thing is I feel like most of the people that are watching the videos that I put out are happy to watch me review boards. Like they're kind of expecting that. They're
Okay.
like, it's not the only thing they necessarily want to see. I've heard a lot of people say, no, I just want to see you skate. Like the viewers develop a relationship with you and they want to hang out, right? That's what it's like. Eventually you're a familiar personality and they, enjoy having you around. So when you stop making videos, it's like a friend just left.
Yeah.
Sure. Which you just did. You said you were...
But you
always
told
puts a
them.
little bit
Yeah.
But did you let them know?
Yeah,
he made a video.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
what. Okay.
That's how this all came about.
Right.
Okay. There we
Well,
go.
because like I know listen, as a fellow skateboarder who is on the internet, well, I understand. Every skateboarder that's on the internet,
This is a new term,
right? Yeah. We all understand the burnout. We all understand the being kind of confined and also having a ceiling, right? We're in a bubble, right? It's really hard to break out, which we'll talk about your other channel pretty soon, which I love your other channel, by the way. It's
Thank you.
The Vancouver Carpenter. It's an interesting thing. Once you kind of start making videos, you're having fun doing it, but you do get kind of like trapped a little bit.
And that's what makes it difficult, is when you don't feel like you have the freedom to move out and do other types of content. It's so, like, when I try to do different things, something that was, say, interesting to me, and it doesn't get any traction, it gives you like no incentive to do that again.
Right.
And I'm kind of going through that with the other channel. So for people who are unfamiliar with it, it's mostly drywall content, because I'm a carpenter, but I kind of got good at doing drywall finishing, to the point that I started getting side jobs doing drywall, and then it eventually turned into my full-time gig, and I got a lot of specialized knowledge in that field. So I then began to make videos about it, and it's an area, it was like a soft spot. There wasn't much good drywall content on YouTube, and I think that's because, like,
I love that. Would have never guessed. Yeah.
Think about most of the drywallers you've met. If we're going to stereotype drywallers, it's like,
do they like getting called that?
Huh?
Do they like
drywallers? Yeah, they're fine.
Okay, all right.
We don't want to offend any fellow drywallers.
Drywallers on there.
Yeah, here he is.
They might not like mutters, tapers.
Oh.
It's I mean,
mutter. What's a mutter?
That's a part of it.
yeah,
though.
mutter. Yeah, totally it is. But, like, the more stuck up ones will be like, I'm a drywall finisher.
Okay. All right.
Who's the drywall starter?
A drywall starter, the guy that hangs the board.
Okay, gotcha.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. But what was I don't remember where I was even.
Just
going with that.
This channel being, you were, I don't remember either, but I love.
This is the most popular one on the channel.
Is it really?
Yeah, not including shorts.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
Go ahead, sorry.
I was going to say, this one, when you look at the thumbnail, it's just like, it's such a mess, and it looks like impossible to fix. And people are just like, I'm pretty sure it's one of the simple ones. My early formula was just like, find an ugly looking problem, to use that as the thumbnail and write, how do you fix this? Right next to it. That worked for a long time.
And did you feel like, how long have you been doing the Vancouver Carpenter channel?
Just a little bit less. So the skate channel is at least 6 years.
6 years, right.
And the construction one is 1 year less. So like 5
So
years.
you kind of saw the interest you had in doing the YouTube stuff for skateboarding, where you're like, hey, there's a hole here. Pardon the pun.
Nice one, dude.
And I can do this for my other job. And it became more successful than the skate stuff, right?
Yeah, I think it's worth getting into, like, so why did I start YouTube would be a good way to frame that. And I was just driving around listening to the radio, and I heard a program, somebody was like, oh yeah, people are actually making a living off YouTube. I'm like, what? like the place where people post cat videos, or like find out how to fix their dryer, like people are earning a living on that. And trying to earn a living and support. At that time, I did have 4 kids. But just as a contractor, like, I wasn't making ends meet. It was like there'd be enough money coming in, to pay bills, to pay rent and food. But it's like I was never saving enough for taxes. It was just really hard to make ends meet. Vancouver, like a lot of places, is a very expensive place to live, with a high cost of living and stagnant wages. It's very much the same as what is going on just about everywhere.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
Especially here.
Yeah. So my original intent was like to put some videos on YouTube to eventually try to actually earn some additional income so I could make those ends meet.
But you started with
I
skateboarding.
started with skateboarding because it's fun and it's what I know.
Yeah.
And it's weird that I started with skateboarding because I liked to look at the difference in boards. Like, I was like, why do I like the way this board feels and I don't like the way the other board feels? And if you watch my very first videos, I knew very little. I hadn't even fully clued into even the simple things like wheelbase. I just knew, like, so in some of my earlier videos, like the first one, I was like, okay, there's this spot here, and when it's smaller, I can pop better.
Oh, you would notice, you would
Yeah.
hone in on
And
that
I was
little
like,
nuance.
And when it's bigger, I can't pop well. So my first board review, where I'm terrified, it's worth watching just to see see what my first video was like. I had never filmed anything. I had never edited anything, and I was terrified. Like,
Is this it right here?
yeah, that's the one.
Okay.
And I'm talking so quiet, and I have no idea what I'm looking at. Like, I'm like, there's this little black dot. It's the camera lens. And I'm like, this is so weird. And because you don't have an audience yet, you don't feel like you just feel like you're talking words out into space.
Sure.
Yeah.
Whereas over time, I eventually was like, after reading enough comments and getting a feel for who's watching, I started to understand who I'm talking to. You're like, there's somebody there, and I know who I'm talking to.
Yes,
Did
exactly.
Did you have like a weird feeling of what other people thought?
I was really disconnected from skateboarding at this time. I was pretty involved in skateboarding and had a lot of friends that were skaters and stuff until my early 20s. Once I had kids at 25, going on 26, life changed dramatically. I was working all the time. I would skate mostly in the summers, and the winters in Vancouver are long and rainy. And so I wouldn't skate well in the winters, and I kind of like claw back my tricks every season. And there was a period of about 10 years where I just didn't skate a lot, and when I did, it was hard.
Gotcha.
So that was like 25 to 35. And I started this channel at 35. After what actually happened was there's a place called Ultimate Distribution that does a lot of brands. That's Kevin Harris. It's his company. And there's a lot of other guys there, but Kevin's the main guy that people will know about. And they have a warehouse that has a bunch of obstacles in there. And it was a nice little park. And so for the first time ever, I actually skated through the winter and kind of got some tricks back and was feeling good. And then I started the channel, and that had its own momentum where I was like, okay, well, I did these tricks in the last video. I have to do something a little better. And then what I didn't expect was going to happen was that I was going to start to improve again. Not only was I relearning my old tricks, I started to learn things that I wasn't able to do before, or at least refine them.
You thought you were already on like a downward
I think that's
slope.
really normal, especially for older skaters, because we didn't have, think back to the 90s and early 2000s. There was nobody that was, 50, even in their 40s, that was skating really well and that was relevant, because skateboarding changed so fast.
Oh, you were done by 20 in the 90s.
Yeah. I thought you meant me, but
No.
In your mind, yeah, for sure. I definitely thought like that.
Yeah.
But, obviously, I think having a strong foundation behind you can help kind of alleviate that thought process.
But we didn't know what was going to happen, because I don't think skateboarding has ever changed faster than it did in the period from about like say 92 to 96.
Yeah.
The boards changed. You could go back a little further, right, into the 80s,
sure.
but like the boards changed, the wheels changed, everything went one direction, everything went back another direction. There was all these new tricks, and most people couldn't keep up. So the people that didn't evolve with that and learn the new tricks, they couldn't do that. So even if we did see them out skateboarding, we're like, this dude can only skate bowls.
Yeah.
Which in the 90s and 2000s, it was like, whatever, dude, I want to see you flip a 7.5.
Plus, we're watching these tricks like a year after they've already been done. So we're already late to the party.
And in Canada, it was even a bit worse.
Oh yeah.
I remember Tim Gavin tripping on that. Like, he's like, dude, I can't skate switch. I'm not, like, this is like, I'm going to do something else. I was like, dude, really? It's like,
He kind of retired because of the switch.
because of that, yeah.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
You guys would get videos way later though, huh?
I don't know how much later they were. I do know that other than 411s, which maybe the delay wasn't as much, but not everybody was putting their best stuff in a 411 anyways.
Yeah.
But the main videos, for sure, you knew when you're watching those. It's like, that was probably a year ago. And so, yeah, you always had that sense that you're catching up and never could.
Pause podcast.
Okay.
I need to tell you guys that this episode is brought to us by Athletic Greens.
Ooh, we love Athletic Greens.
We do.
This is gold in a box, right? Love this stuff. With one delicious scoop of Athletic Greens, you're absorbing 75 high-quality vitamins, minerals, whole food source superfoods, probiotics, and Kelly's favorite thing in the whole world, adaptogens.
I love
There it is.
adaptogens.
This special blend of ingredients supports your gut health, your nervous system, your immune system, your energy, recovery, focus, and aging.
Well, not only that,
Ooh, tell me, Drone.
contains less than 1 gram of sugar, no GMOs, no nasty chemicals or artificial anything, while still tasting good.
Nothing budget, only buttery, right?
Nothing budget, please.
Yeah.
But it also supports better sleep quality and recovery as well.
Tons of people take multivitamins, but it's important that you choose one with high quality ingredients that your body will actually absorb.
And it's also better when you not to have a full medicine cabinet full of, supplements.
Oh, man.
You know,
Wait, so I can get rid of all my supplements?
Yeah, I was just over at Kelly's house the other day. Opened the cap. I was hit with supplements.
Get the trash can.
Yeah.
Throw them in there.
To make it easy, Athletic Greens is going to give you a free 1-year supply of immune-supporting vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. All you have to do is just visit athleticgreens.com/9club. That's NINECLUB. Again, athleticgreens.com/9club. Take ownership of your health and pick up the ultimate daily nutritional insurance today, which is Athletic Greens.
Take over your health now.
It's interesting. Could we just turn back a little bit, because I want everybody to know also that like you have a brother Ted who was sponsored in pro Alien Workshop.
Did you go to Santa Cruz?
Santa
after?
Cruz as
Yeah,
well,
that's what-
right?
yeah.
And you're the older brother, correct?
Yeah.
So what, like, bring us through what was going on back then too. Were you trying to go the sponsored route?
I definitely wanted to be sponsored. I think,
Mind you, in Canada at that point in time, it was more hoops to jump through for
Yeah.
some people. For some people, it was harder to get into the industry, I feel like.
you see that a lot, that a lot of Canadian people of very high ability are never actually able to get much recognition or go anywhere,
Sure.
especially if they stay in Canada. I think you do have to come down here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you've got examples like McCrank, right? Who he lives up there, but he was down here a lot. But then again, he's also extraordinary ability, and he always was. I remember seeing Rick McCrank at a contest it would have been 96, and this was back when like a skate park was a skate park, right? There's no plazas, and a pyramid was a pyramid, right? Like even a backside flip over the corner of the hip felt kind of gnarly. So this was a very steep pyramid, at least like 5 feet on the top. And he was doing like 360 flips over that, kick flips over that. I never even ollied the thing. I would just deck check it. I was too scared to actually commit to a full ollie over it. And I was 14 at that time.
Okay.
And it was this was way before anyone had heard of him. He was riding for a company like called Cherry Bombs. He was some guy from Ottawa, you know.
Oh, wow.
And he's like way better than everybody. So he was older enough than me that I probably wasn't intimidated and was just mesmerized.
Sure.
But McCrank is one of those people that he had that extraordinary ability back then, and he still has it now.
100%. Yeah.
Definitely.
And there's a lot of people like that too. I mean, like there were a lot of people that came out of Canada, and there were people that just stayed there, like Moses Akonin, and I was a huge fan of
Sluggo.
Moses Sluggo. Like there was a big population up there too. And then as soon as, they started forming their own brands, you
Yes.
know,
RDS. Right?
RDS.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Huge out there.
Yes.
at
What,
one moment.
you wanted to get on RDS?
I didn't back then, but so you asked a question about wanting to be sponsored, and that's
Yes.
let's get back to that.
Please.
So, growing up for sure, around 13, 14, I would say my ability level was higher than most of my friends and up there with a lot of the better kids. And I started getting sponsored. So let's start at the sponsored part.
Yeah.
At 13, I sent in a sponsor me tape to a company called West Beach, which was that was like one of the big skate shops at the time. It was a board shop.
Okay.
And I got sponsored by there, and I got a deck a month and a setup every 3 months. And that was a pretty good deal.
For free.
Yeah. And
Okay.
I was
Nice.
also riding for a very small company, that somebody was trying to start up there called Knowledge Skateboards. Craig Williams was another person who rode for that. So he's a local Vancouver name. He rode for Natural Concept. So hi, Craig. And Craig and I go back. So we're good friends now, but the story's kind of funny. So
Okay.
so I was skating this contest. We had these ramps in the bottom of a community center with like slick linoleum ground, but we had a bump to bump, like a wedge to wedge.
Okay.
And I remember skating that thing. We kept moving it apart, and I was like kick flipping it and backside flipping it. And Craig was like 10 years older than me, so he would have been about, in his early 20s, and I'm like 13. And I'm doing that all the time, and we were definitely competing, like neck to neck, right? And that's when he got to know me. And so I sent my sponsor me tape to West Beach, got sponsored, and then I got on the company Knowledge. And I was like complaining about the boards. Like I was like, they're too big. They're too like I'm breaking.
13-year-old
right?
kid just complaining about the
Yeah, right?
boards he's getting for
And-
free.
And so I got kicked off, of course,
No.
for having a bad attitude. And those were my first sponsors.
Okay.
And I didn't have a lot of sponsors after that. I had like a very brief shop sponsor, and the shop folded anyways.
Okay.
It's too long ago for me to even remember what it was called. And then if we jump forward a little bit into my early 20s, I was on Flow very briefly for Status. You guys remember
Status,
Status?
wow.
Yeah,
I remember that.
100%.
So
Through a
all-
distributor or from direct?
direct. So all those guys came up to Vancouver, and I was skating a skate park with Rod James. That's the main person. That was his name, right? Rod James?
Yep.
Yeah. And then I can't remember the other people.
Jim Bates.
Yeah, I remember that name
Jim
now that you
Bates.
mention it. Mm-hmm. Anyways, I put on a good show at the skate park, right? I was landing my stuff, and they're like, okay, so we'll send you a box, and then what you need to do is get some footage.
Okay.
And I mean, we'll have to get into something that's a little bit darker to be able to describe why this worked out. So like, I definitely was really into drugs and alcohol as a teenager in my early 20s.
Okay.
Like in a major and pretty bad way. So I did the typical, like get a box of stuff. I skated some of it. I sold a bunch of it. And I couldn't get it together to film anything. I was actually skating probably the peak of my life at that exact moment. Like I did some things that I've never done to this day. And having the free boards and a crisp board all the time like helped a lot. So I was 21 at this point in time. But yeah, I couldn't get it together to even send some footage. I'm
Really?
skating every day when I wasn't recovering from a bender.
Okay.
And I just couldn't put together any footage.
But if you're skating really well, there's nobody around to just document that? Or was it just not even in your concern to do
I wasn't
it?
clicked up with the right people.
Okay.
You
Because
know-
sometimes when you are in that weird dark place, the bender, maybe it doesn't even like make sense to, you're just like, I don't care.
So-
I don't care. I'm not going to film.
It goes
gonna
deeper
do
than
my
this.
shit. Yeah.
It goes deeper than this. I wouldn't say it's fear of success. I'd say it was fear of failure. It was, and skateboarding was moving really fast at that time. At that point in time, so we're talking about 2003-ish.
Gotcha.
That's when stuff was starting to get pretty big. You had to jump down stuff. You had to do rails. I was never into that, and we can get into why in a bit. But I think I was worried, like, what if I did do well? I don't want to jump down all this stuff. I'm not going to do well, and
Was your brother skating
I
at
was
that point?
just about to ask that,
okay.
right?
we could go further back. Should we go further
Well, no,
back?
because I wanted to know if your brother was actually like, was he
Yeah.
getting sponsored at this point?
Ted's a whole other thing, and I do
Well, I
want to talk about him.
I mean, I would love to have. I mean, I know
Okay.
you just have to speak for him, but
We have time to cover this all.
Yeah.
We may not get back to everything, but
sure.
let's go to Ted because it's important. A lot of
Okay.
people knew of Ted before me.
Ripper, by the
or
way,
have never
killed
heard of
it,
me.
bro.
Yeah, Ted was very
Yeah.
good, and it was obvious from a young age. Okay, so
I'm jealous of him.
I'm going to start with when I started skateboarding.
Okay.
So no, maybe a little bit.
There's
but-
there's sometimes brother rivalries,
Yeah.
for
right?
sure,
Yeah.
for sure there
Brotherly
for sure there
competition.
was some, but we also had different skill sets. Like Ted had major pop. He had a good bag of tricks. I had a more versatile bag of tricks. Like I skated more transition, and maybe so it was different, right?
Right.
His showed better though, for sure, because what he did was usually more challenging.
His precision on his tricks were insane too.
Yeah.
He was.
Did you see the clips I posted on Instagram of him?
I don't think
Are
so.
you talking about from the 90s?
No.
Or just
Recently, or
Yeah, in May.
recently?
No way. No, I didn't
In
see
May.
it. No.
Okay. He hasn't skated for like 10 years, and he steps on a board, and you could still like you just watch the clips, right? It's like what you can do that with not skating for 10 years.
What? I want to.
Some people just
Where-
got it like that. Real talk.
Yeah.
Where is it? Where is it?
Be back a little bit. I'll let you know when I see, go. He
Up?
went too far. He went too
Go
far.
up a little bit.
It's so you see, there's the bricks, so it should be close to there. No, back down. I don't know when else. Wait,
Here, don't
you're
go
going
so
too
fast.
fast. You're going
Yeah,
too
yeah,
fast.
yeah.
Yeah. Go back down. No, it's right there. It's, the one you were on.
This one?
Yep.
Oh, he's skating over.
I didn't even try ollieing that.
This is 10 years. He just
10 years no skating.
What?
Those shoes are from back then.
wow.
What are those DVS or Lakai's? Those
I
are-
still can't
look at-
tray like that.
He
Those
just
are
he
old
put on his
Lakai's.
10-year-old kit and just started killing it.
But wait. Okay, back tail. But wait. I wouldn't try this. Have you been there? Do you know how high that is?
Yeah, it's tall.
Yeah. I wouldn't try crooking that.
That's amazing.
There he goes.
Is he living in San Francisco or?
Yeah, he's been living in the Bay Area for a long time.
Rad.
Yeah.
Damn.
So go ahead with the story.
Okay. So I'm going to start. I started skating in 92, 93. I was like super into martial arts as a kid. And then I had a friend that was like, dude, we should start skating. Skaters are really cool.
Okay.
Like my sister says this,
He's
my
right.
sister said that. He was just always like, so this is winter of 92, 92, 93. Right when, boards all of a sudden have two kicks and he called them double verticals. So I would like call the skateboard stores and be like, do you guys have any double vertical skateboards? And they'd be like, yeah, I think they all are now, if I know what you mean.
Okay.
And they had the tiny wheels, and they were wearing the absurd pants. And we were a year behind. I think the pants by 93 had slimmed down a little.
Slightly.
But in Canada, we did that for longer because everything we saw was a year old.
Right.
Okay.
So that was just like too appealing to me. And they're like clearly super rebellious in nature. I was like a pretty rebellious kid. So skateboarding fit like a hand in a velvet glove. And then it wasn't just like, I didn't just do it and I was like, okay, I'm a skater and now I feel cool. It was like, once I actually really got into it, I was like, this is the funnest thing ever.
Yeah.
Skateboarding was like it was definitely an instant thing. I all of a sudden had something that I loved doing. I wanted to do every single day. My first board that wasn't just like a big box store, 80s complete. I had a babysitter that gave me a board. It was an 8th Street. Like, who knows? It could have even been a Matt Hensley. Like it kind of was like a purple color and looked like one. No idea. But I had that with the old department store trucks and wheels on it. And then in May of 93, I got my first complete, which was, I've eventually found it. It was a Mario Rubalcaba, if I'm saying his name right.
Rubalcaba,
Yeah, and it was so that's an Acme.
Yeah.
I had that, and I had Venture feather lights. They were probably 8-inch ones, if I, just guessing, in 93, right? And a 39 millimeter Powell jelly balls.
How do you
I
remember
know.
this?
I was
Like,
about to
this
say.
is crazy.
Well,
Like, I trip on people.
I waited
like
a
you.
long time, and then like I finally get this like new double vertical skateboard.
Powder
double
jelly balls? Is that what you said?
Yeah.
What was that?
So they were green. There was two colors. There was red ones and green ones, and I got the green ones, and they matched the old green bushings of the Ventures.
Okay.
So-
Oh yeah, those feather lights always had the green bushings. That's
Did,
right.
did you? Were you post green bushings like after?
I was skating on 95.
Oh no, you would have seen the green ones.
Yeah. I remember that, but
Oh,
I
so
never
they
had, I
changed
never
it-
had
they
it in my
changed
home.
it a
They were
certain year?
lingering around.
97 inch.
Yeah.
They changed from green to blue?
Yeah, and they also changed.
I wonder why they ditched
had
green.
They had a new mold. The
Oh,
green was
okay.
good. I think the red's awesome. I love the red bushings on Ventures, but yeah, they changed the mold too. There's a big difference when you look at the old Ventures versus the new ones. I've slowly collected. Like I don't really collect boards so much, but I have like at least a dozen trucks.
Why do the
Wow.
trucks spark your interest like that?
I like grinding things.
Really?
Yeah.
But do you are you into like the technical aspect of trucks too?
Not too deeply.
Okay.
Believe it or not. I mean, maybe.
I'll
So I bet you once we get into it, you'll be like, yes, you are. And I'll be like, well, not as much as some people.
Well, one of your biggest videos is you talking about Thunders and Indies.
That's pretty
Yeah,
And I'm
yeah.
like, how does this guy know all this stuff? Like,
That was an old one too. And
Yeah.
I used to switch trucks intermittently. And not necessarily, not like I did in the course of the videos, but it would be like, oh man, Costin rides Ventures and I want to ride Ventures. Then I'd be like, oh, Van Englen's riding Indies and Wenning is riding Indies. I want to ride Indies again. And
Sounds like a nightmare.
yeah,
So
so
to get used to that. Yeah.
Nightmare. The one thing that always made me so mad about trucks is they had the different measurements for the width of the trucks. Like you get an 8.5 board, you know what it's 8.5. Like everybody had different measurements, and it would make me so angry.
it always should have been, it should just be axle.
Thank you.
Yeah, but a lot of them do hanger. And
Why,
Thunder
Ben?
has the worst. Thunder has the worst
So
one.
funny.
So Thunder does 147, 148, 149. It's not relevant to any measurement except for the 149.
Why?
So the 149 is the actual measurement of your hanger.
Okay.
So not your axle. It's like the space. I mean, I'd have to take it off to show you, right? But it's if you measure the aluminum part
Yep.
to the end of the aluminum.
Yep.
So that's 149 is the Thunder, and then they go down to 148. It's not 148. It should be closer to 144. And then they go, yeah.
But
yeah.
they call it that.
I'll tell you my theory on why
It's called marketing.
That's exactly why. Yes, because they want to differentiate it from Indy. Indy has 149, 144, 139. So they go 149, 147, 48, 147.
Okay. So you're essentially saying they're just making shit up at this point.
Yeah, the Thunder ones, they make it up.
But the indie ones are correct.
Yep.
Wait, when you're talking about this stuff on your channel, is this stuff you're looking up and asking people, or just figuring it out on your own and telling people?
Bit of both. I'll tell you where I've learned the most. One is observation, but I've actually probably learned more from the viewers.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Comments. Yeah, comments. So I make a video about something, and they're like, no, you're wrong. It's this.
There's comments that they don't know what the hell they're talking about. Come on, man.
But there are some comments that are gold.
100%.
I was going to say there's gold buried in the garbage.
Yeah.
Yes. Sounds about
Some
right.
comments, I'm like, are we being trolled right now? What is going on here? Is this
Let me
real?
go
Is this
past
real?
that one.
Is this AI? I don't understand.
Sometimes
what-
people are that dumb.
It's crazy. It's crazy, though. But thank God for the view, man. Keep it coming. No, but it's the truck thing always interests me.
We'll get into that more. I want to go back to your question. So
Go ahead.
We got into it.
No. We
we're gonna do that
travel
here.
in all different roads in the show, but we'll go back to the you and your brother.
I think skaters are often pretty divergent thinkers.
We could
yeah.
do. I mean, we'll reel it back in though.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Bring it back.
So we were talking about my first board, and that it's weird that I remember it. And
But it's making sense
Anyways,
more
that
and
was-
more
yeah,
because
that-
you are kind of very analytical when it
so
comes.
I was
to
11 years old when I started.
Okay.
So 11 years old in 92, 93, and I would be out there skating every single day. And I would say it was about a year later that Ted started. And so Ted's almost 3 years younger than me. So let's just do it roughly. If I'm 12, Ted would have been about 9. But he was also, more or less still a kid. So he was into hockey, or he'd want to be like playing dinosaurs or something, He wasn't like or video games. He wasn't super into skating for a while. But it was clear that he was like pretty good quick. Like it came to him really quickly. And I think he loved hockey at the time too, but there was a difference because hockey's very competitive, and you're up against people that they're nuts about hockey in Canada, the same way they are about other sports down here, right?
Yeah.
So the level of competition is very high, but in skateboarding he's like this little kid and he's insanely good. So to give you an example, the same contest where Rick McCrank's doing those tricks over the whole pyramid, Ted at 11 years old, on the small side of 11 years old was like tray flipping onto the top of the pyramid, but he had like a 100% consistent, fully rotated tray flip at 11 years old.
No tic tacs.
Nothing. I couldn't tray flip properly until I was 13. Like I could do them, but I mean, even to this day, I often have a chronic 340 flip.
Yeah.
It's
340.
Yeah,
Nice.
and my front foot holds it down. I watch how people pop it. It's like a pop shove, but I know my front foot gets in the way.
Okay.
I've been trying to improve my tray flip, but it's like, it is what it is. Sometimes they're good, sometimes they're not. If you want to talk about jealousy, yeah, for sure. I would love to have Ted's tray flip.
Okay.
But it's not a deep wounding jealousy. It's just like it's just like I'm glad you have that, but I wish I had it too.
Yeah. Very surface. And that's it.
Yeah, so the thing about Ted was he really stood out because he was very young, very small, and very good.
So people noticed him.
Yeah, but in 1996, so I grew up skateboarding. I started going downtown I think it's important that we talk about this because downtown Vancouver was like a pretty important place in the early 90s. You've got questionable video, tons of footage there. Virtual reality, tons of footage in Vancouver. And then Goldfish, tons of footage in Vancouver. So Vancouver, it was an amazing city to skate. It's a small urban city, especially at the time. But in this sort of 6-block radius, you had like good spot after good spot after good spot. Like did you ever
Slam
skate
City
downtown?
Jam, and I just had an awesome contest. Dude.
Yeah, and did you ever go downtown?
Yes.
Was it New Spot?
Skated that area. Yes.
New Spot, right?
New
Yeah.
Spot
One of
was
them
the
one of
best.
them,
Yeah.
for sure.
New Spot was so good.
Yeah.
No, they had all the spots in the small area, just like you said. It was great.
Yeah, you could go. You get kicked out of one, you go to the next one,
Yep.
and then you just go back up and around, and it was so good. So CIBC Rails is one of them. That's a famous spot. You know, Costin's got like one of his enders is in Mouse's at CIBC Rails.
Is that the gold rail?
What's
It's
silver?
silver.
It's silver.
Silver.
With
Wait,
the,
guy switchback
Switchback tail.
Switchback
Yes.
tail. Okay.
Yes, which for a long
Oh,
time.
that's silver. Yeah.
Yeah, for a
You're
long
right.
time I actually thought was Mike Carroll. Because I
Really?
just didn't think that somebody could switch back tail a handrail.
Oh,
Yeah, I didn't know that was Guy.
that was crazy because that was like one of the only tricks he had in the video, right?
Yeah.
It's the only trick he needed. In the
Yeah, I was
video.
insane.
Switchback
I was like,
tail.
what the
Definitely
hell?
didn't need nothing else.
I
That's for
nose
sure.
slid that rail. That was all I did. I was young and I was scared of getting sacked, so I wouldn't try board sliding it. But I actually nose slid it in front of Costin too. So
Oh, sick.
in
This
the
is the new spot. Right
yes, Tony.
here. Yeah.
No, that's Colin.
Colin McKay.
New spot was so good.
It was.
You'd get kicked out a lot at the wrong times of day, but it was such a fun spot. I broke my arm in half there.
Oh,
Oh, jeez.
You always remember where you break your arm.
I know,
for
right?
sure.
I mean, people still skate there, right? But they mostly skate the stairs. I feel like
That's
on
the only
end.
thing you can skate, and it's also so rough now. Back then, it was pretty new. That's why it was the new spot.
Dude. Oh my god, one of the best skaters ever to come out of Canada. Dude, I'm blanking on his name right now. Switch backside flip over the bench there.
That Stanger.
Stanger, Travis.
Oh, Travis.
I don't know why I blanked on his
Yeah.
name, but he's one of the best. But that switch backside flip is insane.
Yep,
Yeah.
those were very tall. I think Ted might have switch flipped it, but he for sure nollie half cab heeled. And sorry for the people that get fussy about names, trick names.
No, frontside heel, bro.
So which front side? I mean, I get it.
Yeah, no. I like everyone has their own.
But
Dude,
when
I love these conversations.
But when I say nollie half cab heel, you know which way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I know.
So
Backside, right? No, just kidding.
Yeah, right. Like you know which way I'm talking about. So even though it's technically not approved by the inventor of the cab, but it's like but you know what I'm talking
Here we
about
go.
when I say it. So
That's all that matters.
If Steve Caballero was here right now,
I'd say I'm still gonna call it a nollie half cab heel.
I don't know.
Maybe
He's
not.
pretty, you know.
I
Is he
like that.
intimidating?
Hey, I
He-
like that.
he's not
dude.
intimidating, but when you're
I like
here
that.
and he starts explaining his reasoning, you're like,
But I have my reasons too.
Yeah,
but
see?
he's Steve Caballero.
This is so true.
So-
He is, but at a certain point, you also have to let go of it because you've created this thing. It's got a name, and then
Right,
it's going
right.
to evolve.
You have to let it
Yes.
evolve. Okay. Sorry.
I
I was
mean,
just going
like-
to go out on a tangent now because I don't like kids are starting to rename tricks.
Oh.
What
Okay.
about? I mean, it's a switch half cab heel.
Yeah.
Switch half cap heel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that better?
No.
No, it's worse.
I know exactly what you mean, but
Yes.
most people will be like, "Wait, what did you just say? I don't get it." But then I'm like, "I get it." It's yeah,
yeah. No,
it's
it's a funny thing,
Yeah.
and some people get bent out of shape about names. I don't really care. I just care that I understand what trick you're talking about.
I'm,
That's the main point.
I'm
Yeah.
with you on that. We could get into a whole thing. We've had discussions
Not really
on.
worth it. I'm sure you've covered it.
oh
We talk about it. We talk about it, and you know.
We
so
indulge.
let's go back because I'm curious.
Yeah,
on-
downtown Vancouver. Right?
Well, I'm just curious too, and in this whole system that you have going on here, you're older than your brother.
Mm-hmm.
He's good. He's getting noticed now. He's but he's 3 years younger.
At,
And
at that point, I was still considerably better than him because
Okay,
I was
no.
older and I had pop, and he was still
Right.
little.
but he started getting more.
He got
He got
more-
sponsored. Alien Workshop.
Yeah, later on, he definitely he took off with it. He
Right.
did well. He had good work ethic, and he also looked at what I was doing with my life and was like, "Well, this isn't paying off. It's not
Okay.
working out for him."
So he wasn't going on the bender. He
No.
was clean.
He had some restraint.
Okay.
No, I was a bad influence on him, but he wasn't stupid.
At that time.
I'm
Yeah.
just wondering.
so he was learning through your mistakes.
Yeah,
all
I
pretty
think so,
much.
yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm just wondering too, like, and sorry to get so deep in this, but like, were you? I could see because you could almost like resent skating at that point too. You know,
I don't know if I resented skating. Maybe like, so I didn't want to. I didn't chase sponsors because it was that sort of thing where like, well, if I'm not trying, I'm not failing. You know, like I don't need this. I don't want sponsors. I just skate. I don't need to have any of that. Even though, of course, I wanted sponsors. Of course, I wanted to do that.
It's a kid's dream.
I mean, looking back, I'm actually grateful. I think my life probably, I'm unfolded the way it did for a reason. But like, I don't know what would have happened. For one, I don't think my ability level has ever actually been good enough to compete at those levels. And I don't mean compete, but like compete for ad space, compete for attention, right? Like, I don't think I was good enough to actually become pro. I would say at 16, I might have had a fighting chance had I lived maybe in California.
When did Ted turn pro?
Ted turned pro.
Do you remember how old he was?
20-ish.
20-ish. Okay. Okay. Okay.
We turned pro for Santa Cruz?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. He rode for Alien, though, for a while.
Yeah.
That was cool because I got Alien boards from him.
Sick.
I feel like Alien was everybody knows Ted through Alien. I feel like that was his like.
That's the part he's the least happy with.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, because it didn't have a full part, right?
He didn't have a full part, and I think he feels like he didn't work as hard, but he does have some good tricks in there.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's got some good tricks in there.
I felt like from the outside looking, I mean, I knew like Wenning in those dudes and whatever, and I was like, he kind of came out of nowhere. I felt like he wasn't in the mix, and all of a sudden, like, who's this dude? He's really good, but I don't know where he came from.
I don't think he ever felt like he connected with the crew either.
Oh, really?
And so that would be that's part of the reason why he left Alien to go to Santa Cruz is he had friends on Santa Cruz. So, he was living at the same house. He was skating with those guys. It was like a natural shift.
Okay.
Yeah.
I feel like that happens a lot in skateboarding.
Yeah.
Big feel disconnected.
Yeah.
So you started to party, you started to do your thing, and skating kind of took.
It was definitely not my first priority.
Right.
Absolutely not my first priority, even not intentionally. That's the way that thing works. Addiction like becomes your full priority whether you realize it or not.
Yeah.
And it takes precedence over everything else.
Yeah. And then what were you doing? Like, so did you? At what point did you get clean?
22.
22. So not too far after you hit it. You hit a.
Yeah, I really, really burned everything down, and any chance that I may have had to do something with my skateboarding at the time where I might have had enough ability was gone. So by 22, I'm getting clean and sober, and I just knew that it was past. I was like, it's really clear. Like, skateboarding's moved too far. We're now in the era of like, Paul Rodriguez, like just the Chris Cole. It's like I'm never gonna do that. It moved farther, like way farther, and I think also they are of a certain ability level that is really rare. And then all of a sudden there was enough people that had been discovered of that really rare ability level that it's like, well, no, there's no room for me here. And I knew that it would lead to unhappiness. And I was committed to staying clean and sober. And I knew I had to avoid things that were going to, like pipe dreams, things that were just going to ultimately cause me to be dissatisfied. Kind of knew I had to like find a new path in life.
Interesting.
Yeah. It's not just that. I also think I see this a lot with skateboarders where they devote their life to skateboarding through their teenage years and maybe their early 20s. And then all of a sudden they're like, I'm done. Like, I'm bored of this. I'm not interested in this. So at that point in time, I got into construction. I started my carpentry apprenticeship, and that actually became pretty interesting as I was learning. And I was very committed to my career. I would still skate, but I was definitely, working took priority. And when you're working in construction, looking back, I had the time and energy to skate after work.
You already started a family at this point too?
No, I started in construction, like in my official carpentry apprenticeship at around 23.
Okay.
So it was a couple of years before I started having kids.
Gotcha.
But I was like, yeah, I totally don't have the time and energy to skate after work. Can't skate that good. Looking back, I'm like, yeah, I had the time. Like after having
just making excuses.
After having kids, you're like, no, I totally had the time and energy. Like, don't go out there and expect to have your best session. But when you have a full-time job, I think it's really important to try to get a midweek session in there. I've talked about this in a video because when you're like off your board for so many more days than you're on, like off 5 days, maybe skate 2 days, it's not quite enough time to not even just learn new tricks, but it's not even enough time to keep the ones you have.
True. So
that midweek session just helps. Even if it's not your best session, it helps you stay sharp. for the weekend.
Yeah,
I agree.
makes sense.
I
Yeah.
agree. Because yeah, the more you're on your board, the better you feel, right?
Yeah, there's a delicate balance.
And you were you were speaking to that earlier too. You were saying like you felt like that you were on this down slope, but then you were skating a bunch and obviously like learning new tricks and
Yeah, once I was consistently skating, like more than once a week or once a month, all of a sudden it started to come back.
it is so easy to fall into a routine. And
Yep.
fall into a routine of not skateboarding.
Well,
Yeah,
and
fall off.
Yeah, fall off. There you
Easy
go.
to fall off.
So, because then you don't want to go out and you see everybody and you're like, dude, I can't even kickflip. Like, even a nose slide feels scary. Back tail is out of the question. Like, and then you're like, you feel like everyone's watching you and judging you. Like, man, he really let it go.
So let's create a YouTube channel so everybody can watch. Huh?
Come along the journey.
Yeah, it's
But
funny.
that kind of helps though, no?
It did. Yeah, it did. Because like I said, it gave me a benchmark every video where I'm like, okay, this is where I'm at. Well, I want to do a little better. And then I start seeing that I'm doing better. And so I kept getting motivated.
Oh, it keeps you accountable. That's for sure.
Yeah, I even still that's why I haven't stopped posting Instagram clips, because I'm kind of like, well, I learned this. I'm happy about it. And like some days I'll be like, I'm not going to film anything today.
Yeah.
And I go out and I'm like, but this trick's feeling really good today. And I actually kind of want to say something about it.
Yeah.
Well, also, when you were full blast in the YouTube channel, were you skating alone a lot of the times?
Yeah, mostly because I was on like dad's schedule.
Okay.
And I hadn't reconnected or made skate friends yet.
Oh,
There was that too, because you have to understand that whole 10-year period, I just moved away from skateboarding. It wasn't that I never skateboarded. It wasn't that I didn't want to skateboard, but my life was just not revolving around it in any way.
Did you pay attention to what was going on?
No.
Really?
Yeah. There's like a 10-year. People are always like, "Oh, remember?" I'm like, "No, dude, I was gone."
What years were you gone?
Well, so probably like when I had kids, starting in 07.
Okay, 07.
I'd say I checked out from the skate scene and industry earlier. I was still skateboarding, having fun, but I don't. Even now, I'm actually pretty oblivious to most things.
Okay.
Yeah, like most.
But like you Barrick stuff, you didn't watch See It All?
Oh, dude, I watched the games of skate.
Okay.
We'll talk about that off camera.
So what, like
I have
2000?
opinions.
We could talk about them on camera too if you want.
No.
Why not?
Let's talk some shit, dude.
We're gonna
Let's go.
retransform your YouTube channel.
Okay,
right here.
I'm gonna
right here
say
now.
what I saw that I liked.
Okay.
So
this year.
all right. So there was. I'll just go to my highlight. No, there was one trick that was landed that was, not deemed satisfactory by most people. If you read the comments, it was claimed that it was okay because it was defense. But you read the comments, there's a pretty clear
There's
chord.
a lot of games. What are we talking about?
I'm not throwing anyone under the bus. The people that know this will talk about it.
We definitely throw some people under the bus based on the judging.
Yeah.
We're all friends with everybody. It's all good. We could throw
No,
them
I'm
under the
I'm
bus.
not throwing I'm not throwing anyone under the bus.
Okay.
Anyways, so
Throw them under the bus.
there was a game that really upset me, and then there was a game that like kind of redeemed the whole thing. Where like Chris Cole, I think there was a couple moments in a couple games where people decided to redo their trick and it cost them the game,
Yeah. Okay.
but they kept their credibility,
Yes.
Okay,
Right.
yeah.
This one of the
Right.
ones
which
with
is
the
more
name.
important.
Yeah.
Is more important than winning Battle of the Berrics.
They pulled themselves over, right?
Yeah.
That's what
Yeah.
what's his name said.
Jerron.
No, but Seva. That's
Oh,
what,
Seva.
yeah.
Yeah.
But
No, but you said it. I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. You did say that. Wait, so this recent games or older games?
No, this is this year.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
What you said that people didn't like.
It was a sloppy trick that, let's just say, Chris Joslin threw in the towel.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, this is
Yes,
the one we
yes.
talked about.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
we talked a lot
But
about
I don't
this.
want to get like super into it, right?
This
but
ruffled everybody's feathers.
I know. That's why I said
Yeah.
that it was clear in the comments,
Yeah.
right? And you know what? Like hard to know what to do in that situation under pressure. But like later, there was moments in other games where people did call themselves on
Yeah.
stuff.
Well,
that,
because they're
that could have
seeing
passed
what is
even.
happening
Totally.
before,
Mhm.
and they're
Yep.
making adjustments due to like so many people.
And I
It's-
sorry.
All I'm going to say is it is such a different vibe when you're there. It's
I
just
bet.
they're asking the homie to be a ref. They're asking like this isn't like some huge thing when you're there. It's just like you know, hey, we're going to play a game of skate. Ben, you're here. Do you want to be the ref? And you're like, yeah, sure. And you throw on the thing.
Yeah.
And it's very nonchalant.
It would be hard to be in the person's position that made an unpopular call.
Sure. Sure. And I saw him at a Nitro Circus show, and I said to him, I'm like, what was up with that call? And he was like, dude, he's like, I was getting roasted. I'm like, and I was like, it was a bad call. He's like, yeah, it was a bad call.
Straight up.
So like he gets it, right? But in the moment, it's hard.
Yeah.
You know, that's
Yeah.
why I have a little bit of empathy, right? But also,
I do too.
I feel like there should be something more stringent in place, you know, because a lot of people do take this shit seriously.
Yeah,
Yes.
be more. Take this more important. Like, don't do. Yeah, it
But
was-
that's why,
No, dude.
he was just like, "Oh no, just keep going. It doesn't matter." And we're like, "No,
It does matter.
I threw the
Yeah.
You didn't even.
But also,
look, I threw
Jocelyn,
the thing and
but
no one cared.
Jocelyn's a grown ass man. He could actually step in and be like, no, this is what I want. You know,
Totally.
Yeah, but at the same time, you know, it almost looks better on him that he let it go.
Yeah,
sure.
Because ultimately, like, what's he actually going to gain from winning that? And, like, really, like, grand scheme.
It's all fun and games at the end of the day. It's
Yeah,
like, let's
exactly.
take
It is a game.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
It's interesting. No, I love to hear other people's takes on it because us being kind of closer to the barracks, you know, and knowing how kind of things operate, it's funny to like go sift through comments and you're like, yeah, it's not really like if you're there, it's so much different. It's
Yeah.
So,
really nonchalant.
The other thing is the natural evolution of where it's going is like it starts to look like a game full of circus tricks. Like
Yeah.
the gentleman's game is getting harder and harder to find. But the last game, the one that Jamie Griffin won, he played a really respectable game. He could
So
go
about finals night? Finals?
Yeah, he could go straight to weird tricks.
Well,
He can do-
it was started with weird tricks, and he brought it back to a gentleman's game,
I know,
which I thought was awesome.
he played, in my opinion, that was kind of the perfect game because he like held off and he did difficult but not like circus tricks, and then he at the very end he seals the deal with like one of his signature moves.
Yeah,
That was like, in my opinion, the archetypal good game.
I agree. I agree. I just loved how he brought it back around. He's like, okay, dude, you're firing on all cylinders right now. I'm going to bring it back. Let's do a kick flip. Let's do a heel flip. Let's do a tray flip. Let's
see if these are working.
Let's bring this back.
Yeah, so I like how that reflected on him.
Okay, gotcha.
Wait, so when you said you missed 10 years, you didn't know anything about the barracks when you started skating
I mean,
again?
it's not like I was under a rock, but I knew the barracks existed. I wasn't, but I just didn't have time to engage in skate content. And to be totally honest, for the most part, I still don't have the time to consume very much skate content.
Yeah.
Like when you guys put out something with somebody that I'm really interested in, I watch it for sure.
Yeah,
and the short clips you guys put out, I watch a lot of those too because they're digestible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
Right.
I have the time.
Yeah.
I can sit there and watch 3 of those.
For sure. And I feel like that, but that's just our show in general, right? It's like if you're really interested in somebody, we do have a fan base that is going to watch it no matter what, you know, no matter
we
who the
love them.
person is.
And
Yes.
we love them.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
I'm-
definitely.
Yeah.
And then we have the people obviously like who, you know, we know it's all good. So that whole 10 years, you're just doing your thing
Just
and
working.
skateboarding. What brought you back into skateboarding? Like what sparked
like
it?
I said, I never wanted to stop. But I also actually had difficulty finding boards because things changed and the boards that I used to ride didn't feel the same as they used to. You know, whether it's changing wood shops or changing shapes, and you know, boards had gotten bigger. I'm like, I can't find a 7.9 to save my life.
7.9?
That's
what I ride.
what he left
Back
off
in,
on.
You know, when I was 35 in when would that have been? Like, let's just say roughly 2017. Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
I wanted to go back to what I had.
Yeah. Okay.
You
So
know,
wait, that time span was it 2005 to 2015? That 10-year
Roughly.
span? Okay.
Yeah.
Now it makes more sense. Okay.
Yeah, so I wasn't super. I just wasn't really in skateboarding at that time.
Do you think starting your YouTube channel really like solidified you like loving skateboarding again and like having something to put your emotion into and put your passion into, you know?
Definitely.
Maybe even made you feel closer to the industry.
Yeah. Well, that happened over time. But no, it just made it fun again.
Right.
Yeah, it gave me something to do. And then I started meeting people, having friends in skateboarding, and so I go to the skate park and it's not just strangers anymore, or people that are still really good that I'm nowhere near as good as anymore. And
what about having your fans? Did it feel weird to have people come up to you and be like, "Yo, dude, what's up? I watch your videos."
No, a little bit, but I think I've gotten used to that over the years. And in the beginning, there was like, I don't know. I started doing YouTube skate stuff at a weird time. I think I started at the beginning of when people were really starting to hate on YouTube skateboarding.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
And I was totally oblivious to that.
Right. It's good that you were.
I had some, it was. I had some good friends, or at least very good acquaintances that I was like, hey, do you want to come on the channel? And they're just like, no.
Oh,
no.
wow.
Yeah. No, nobody was receptive.
Are these
and
people
anyone I told when I was starting a YouTube channel was just like, like, have fun.
Yeah, but I mean, like,
right? Like, why are you doing that?
Yeah. But here's the thing, though, is like you don't have any ties to the skateboard industry at this point, right? Like, you could just you're just a dude that's going to make a YouTube channel. It was more it was more bad if you were like a sponsored skateboarder or like in the industry and starting a YouTube channel.
Yeah,
then there was apparently that wasn't the case. It's for your normal skateboarders were just still hating on starting a YouTube.
That's crazy to hear.
My good friends in skateboarding were just like, yeah, no, I'm not going to be in a video. Like, no way.
Crazy.
How about after you started getting views? They're like, yeah, well, I'll be in a video.
Let me see what this is about.
Actually, I stopped asking people. After the first few interactions, I didn't ask anybody. No. Just no way.
Put a bad taste in your mouth.
And I've never wanted to be that person who's like at the park and like taking up all the oxygen because they're trying to film content.
Got you.
I've never wanted to be that guy. So I think I've done a fairly good job. I mean, sometimes I'll be like, I'll really be feeling the session and like want to get clips, but I don't think that's any different than anybody who's like trying to film something for Instagram. For sure.
100%. Your videos don't come off like that either. Mm-hmm. Like it looks like you respect everybody's space.
So I've worked hard to, like I said, not go full YouTube, right? Like I've always thought long term, like I want to have some sort of credibility and respectability within the industry. And if I go that route, I didn't even want to go that route. Like we should get into that a bit more, but
sure.
I don't think that the contempt for YouTube skateboarding or the formulaic YouTube skateboarding is entirely undeserved because like I don't like clickbait. Right. I don't like feeling deceived, and I don't like watching stuff that is a waste of my time.
Okay.
I'm one of those people that's very much like I watch YouTube with a purpose usually. I like to say I do. Some of the stuff I end up watching is stupid.
Join the club.
Well, you get lost in YouTube, right?
I'm not immune to the algorithm.
Right.
Just not immune to the algorithm. But primarily, I try to watch things that will have some lasting value in my life. And so I've always tried to make sure, like, I have kind of a viewer first mentality. Like, how does this serve them? Is anybody's life going to be better or improved, or will it improve their understanding of their skateboard? Will it make them want to go skateboarding? Or is this just self-indulgent? Like, I think you really have to be careful when creating content on any social media. Like, is this just a narcissistic endeavor? Because it's very easy to fall into that trap, especially once people start singing your praises.
I think it is. I think there's some narcissism there for sure. I think there has to be.
Totally. And it like feeds, right? And then it keeps growing.
Well, here's the thing: is you mentioned too in your kind of farewell video. You were saying that, like, listen, it's when a video doesn't do well, it affects you.
Yeah, for sure. I'm not immune to that.
Right. But it's weird that it does, though, because here we are making stuff that we want to make. We're making content that we obviously like to do. And yes, you want it to go really well, but at the same time, it's like, so what? That one flopped, man. Like, on to the next one.
So my philosophy on YouTube is that it's mining for gold. And some days you're going to hit a vein, and some days you're coming up with nothing.
Totally.
And if you don't keep digging, you won't get those nuggets.
Yeah.
And so I also want to talk about, like, what do you guys offer? So you offer a service. So like, let's just give an example. I didn't know who Jeff Grosso was. You know, that was way before my time.
Sure.
And then I watched his whole night. That was one of the ones where I definitely like watched the whole thing. And now I knew who he was. And then I start watching the love letters, and then I developed an understanding of who he is and what he offered to skateboarding.
Right.
So you guys provide a service by helping people have a deeper connection to the skateboarders that they connect with.
Yep.
I agree with that. Yeah.
So that's your service. And sometimes it doesn't work on YouTube because it's impossible to make, like, I know that sometimes I make a really good video on the Vancouver Carpenter channel and it's impossible to title properly.
Right.
I cannot make a video that will have broad appeal. And it's like, okay, so this is one for the faithful subs.
And we already know that because we go through, even for our clips channel that we do, it's like just the thumbnail alone and the title alone is like the most agonizing thing in the world. I hate it.
I hate it too.
But
it's the most
something common
important.
here.
it is the most
It is the
important.
most
Because
important.
like you said, like I want to, you know, when I'm making a thumbnail, right, I want to convey to the person that's looking at that, like what they are about to watch. We have headphones on, like, okay, it's a podcast. There's microphones in front of us. Like, I don't want to, you know, dupe the audience into like watching our content. I kind of want them to know, you know, it's like, hey,
Well-
this is what I'm about to dive into this, and it's a podcast.
Here's a way to think about it. So if you're hammering a nail and it goes in 2 or 3 strikes, that feels pretty good. If it takes you 10 strikes to hit a nail in,
You bend it.
you bend it over. Yeah, bending it over is or hitting your thumb on it.
That's the,
Right.
the
Right,
worst.
like that's not it's not a satisfying way. You don't feel like your energy is being used well.
It's true.
And that
for
that-
sure.
So that when you hit a home run on YouTube, it feels good because you're like, I feel like that was time and energy well spent. And so that's why I say it's like mining for gold. You have to be patient on the days where you come home with a wheelbarrow full of dirt.
What is your idea of a successful video number wise?
It's different on both of the channels.
Oh, on skateboarding.
Okay.
yeah.
So the skate channel is like,
What's a like? Yes, I met that mark.
well, I'd say if I get an initial 50,000 views, it's
Okay.
like,
That's it.
that's the bulk of the viewership was interested, and also a bunch of people that probably weren't subscribed.
What's an average view video?
I would say I get an average of like a solid 20,000. And if I really blow it, it's like 10,000. That's like only the most faithful watch that.
So 20K is your. You know that 20,000 people. It's crazy to say that, by the way. You know, just think about
Yeah.
a stadium. Think about how many people are fitting into that stadium. 20,000 people tune in because they like Ben. You know that for a fact, right?
It's funny though how the fact that I know it's a poor performing number makes me let's go like 20,000 is small.
Yeah.
You look at the
That
watch.
perception in the mind, like based on
Right.
how we're set up with this shit, it's so
True.
psycho how that can affect us in so many different ways. Like, oh, I got 50, I'm feeling great. I got 20, damn, that's whack.
But it's also that's the thing about the internet though is it's numbers at a scale that's bigger than we can comprehend.
For sure.
It's bigger than we can actually wrap our heads around. So,
Right.
And if we spent all of our time with our heads wrapped around those kind of numbers, maybe we'd never actually be down on earth enough to like figure stuff out.
What
You
about-
have to be able to gloss by the details sometimes.
Sure.
Totally.
What about videos that you made that you thought were like, oh, this is not going to do well, but it kicked ass, or reverse?
That's my favorite.
Yeah,
Can you surprise yourself?
What was
It's like the normal shit on YouTube.
Yeah, but this one pop out like that in your head when you think of that, or vice versa?
No, I'm drawing a blank. Oh, okay. The one that Chris brought up on the construction channel, where it's repairing an overcut electrical box. Sure, I knew that was something that people wanted to watch, but this was like in the beginning when I didn't have experience with the craft per se, and I was just throwing stuff out there, and that one did really well, really fast.
Jeez.
Because people just wanted to know, like, how do you fix that? And if I could repeat that, but have it actually be a useful service to people, I'd be a very rich man.
Straight up.
You're making millions of views on this stuff, dude.
I mean, this
Wow.
is just this is your popular page right here.
Well,
and
You look at how many people need to watch content about skateboarding versus how many people need to content about home repair.
Oh,
The
dang.
market is like,
Huge.
I'm not going to get into specific numbers, but like my CPM, which is basically my, how much I make per view. My CPM on the construction channel is double the skate channel, right? So it's
I'm
like
guessing, and you
and
don't
then
want
I
to
get 10 times more views. It's literally 20 times more worth my while to put energy into that.
So your CPM on your Vancouver channel is probably around $20.
I don't think I think there's times where maybe it gets that high, but
Okay.
not always.
But still, that's insane.
Yeah, it's
great.
way better. I think the home renovation one is definitely like it's one of the good fields. I've heard the finance videos, investing
Oh, yeah.
is
There's
the
just
highest.
huge
Yeah.
spaces for sure.
Well, it's the most advertiser dollars being pushed into that market.
Yeah,
Makes sense.
I think it comes also down, bringing it back again, like to service, right? Like, I think it's important for people to hear about skateboarding, but it's like, it's a smaller market. So, so it just doesn't go as far.
Everybody wants to be in skateboarding, but nobody wants to be in skateboarding.
Yeah, there's just not as much money to go around, right? So when they advertise to skateboarders, it's like, what are they going to do? Buy a Red Bull or something, right?
So what I'm hearing, from you is that your skateboarding channel, as much as love and dedication you put in there, is not paid the bills.
No.
It is more of a passion project.
Yeah. So the skate channel brings in, when I was working at it a lot, is about roughly 2 days of work.
Yes.
Like
okay.
like I could go do 2 days of construction and it's about the same. And now that I'm doing nothing, it's about 1 day of work. But because I'm doing nothing, it's an extra day
But
of work.
I think a lot of people misconceive the idea of YouTube. They're like, oh, he does YouTube. They're rich, man. They're making millions of dollars. Like, it's a whole thing. But it's a CPM, it's a RPM, it's what industry you're in. It's like skateboarding is very.
It's a good supplement, but if it's your only income stream, it can be tough too, because when it's not doing well, it can really make you panic.
Look at like a
only
Dan
imagine.
Corrigan, for instance, right? He has figured out that what works for him and what's comfortable for him to make a living is a video a day.
Yeah, volume.
A video a day.
And
that
that's
is
a lot.
insane.
Yeah.
But it works for him. He's making a living that's comfortable for him for putting out a video a day.
He's figured out a way to do it. Yeah.
Right. Right.
I mean, how long you can sustain that, or if it takes a toll on your enjoyment of skateboarding is a different thing. He's done well so far.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a juggle like no other, I would say.
When you are reviewing stuff, now I know you wanted to do like, listen, if you review a product online, you want an unbiased opinion. You don't want anybody, listen, companies can send you stuff, but was there any type of like hard issues there? Like, were you getting a sponsorship deal and you had to like, not maybe lie, but maybe just kind of like, oh, I have to give a good review because I'm getting paid for this, or maybe I'm getting paid and they don't care?
I think I can get into some of this stuff a little bit. So
What he means is, did you ever deceive the people?
No.
That's the most succinct way to say it, and what people would actually want to know.
Right.
So
Well, because every time we talk about something,
I didn't, because I have to sleep at night.
Right.
I got a lot of free skate gear, and I kind of had a policy of like, if I don't like it, the video's not coming out. I'll tell you what I didn't like. I'll give you my opinion, but I'm not putting the video out. And in the beginning, it was all product from viewers. Actually, I got tons of stuff from viewers, and I felt like I had a little more freedom to just say it blunter.
yes. So when you say that you wouldn't put out a video if the product sucked,
I'd give them feedback and thanks for the product. The video's not coming out.
really?
Yep.
Now,
So then they would know automatically that there was going to be some negative.
yeah, but
stuff by
the
you not-
audience wouldn't know.
No, but they also probably wouldn't know that I was riding it.
You would interpret that, I think, after a while. Like,
No, because you don't know what product he's going to review.
They didn't always,
Yes,
and they didn't
okay,
always
okay.
know what I was riding.
okay,
Yeah.
okay.
I'm just curious on, is it just you wanted to stay positive on the channel?
Well, it's not just staying positive, but it's also keeping a positive relationship with people, like not just the viewers, but also the vendors.
Sure.
Sure. It's like not burning bridges within the industry.
Right.
The people that I might want to actually like have a business relationship in some way.
Sure.
was-
Which you do, right? I mean,
Yeah, in a way.
yeah. Can we talk about what you're doing for real at the moment?
We can. Yeah, we'll get into it a little bit. So I don't know exactly how much to say because I don't want to overpromise
Okay.
and underdeliver.
But I think this is rad. I think this is a
I think
rad thing to
I'm
do.
super
And you're
stoked on
working
it,
with
too.
amazing people up there, by the way.
Deluxe is
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
Deluxe is great. I have
Amazing.
nothing but good things to
I
say.
don't know Jim Thiebaud, but I've heard he's okay.
Dude,
he's
he's
an
the
okay
best.
guy.
I mean, like,
The best.
I-
Absolutely.
so very quickly, Deluxe is what it is. In part, he will not take the credit, but his ethos goes throughout that company and the way they do business, in
100%.
the way they support people and what they've done for skateboarding. So he's a large reason it is what it is. I've gotten to know him a little bit over the last couple of years, and I really like him. I always enjoy my conversations, and there's not enough of them.
Yes.
But he's
I
a busy
agree.
guy.
I
Yeah.
agree. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Straight
So anyways, over time, I've been starting to realize that I actually like a flatter concave.
Okay.
And we'll have to unpack that a little bit, right?
Okay.
Because define concave where, right? So I like my kicks to be pretty medium. Not quite steep, but not too mellow.
Mm-hmm.
But I like this part right here to be quite flat. I don't like it when a concave ramps up really
Oh
steeply.
yeah.
And by the way, for people listening, he's
I
talking
don't
about
either.
right over the wheel well. Right over the wheel
Yeah.
well.
Yeah,
There's a hump.
I'm talking about this concave.
Yeah.
And it can ramp up quickly, and most deluxe boards, like their current mold in production, it goes up quite quickly. And if you like steep concave, that's for you.
It's all bareback stuff, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
noticed
they're all
that, actually.
BBS.
Yeah. Oh, BBS, sorry. Yeah.
Well, it's just shorter.
Yeah.
But I would be riding the boards and I'd be like, yeah, I can skate them. I like it, but like my foot doesn't feel comfortable on it. And your arch goes this way, the arch of your foot. Like, so why do you want to ride on something with a deep scoop? It's like it's just flattening out your arches even more.
Okay.
When it's spending all this time right here.
Sure.
So anyways, this concave goes up quite a bit slower, and then the concave in the middle overall is maybe a few mils less. But the other thing is when that concave ramps up really quickly, it creates a deep pocket here. And I feel like I often lose connection when I'm rolling my ankle over to flick.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
So when it's flatter in this space, it's just like, boom, straight to the nose, flick off the nose. And I feel like I have a more natural flick. I don't lose any of that connection. So it's about having a more comfortable concave right here, and then having that connection as you fold your foot over. And this is what works for me. Like it can be different for everybody, but they had been wanting to put out something different. They've been experimenting with like, well, we want to do something a little mellower, but they were, well, what is mellow? Are we talking mellow kicks? Do we mean mellow overall? And then when I came to Jim with my ideas of like, well, this is the kind of mellow that I'm looking for, he was like, let's do that.
How did that conversation even get started?
I sent him a picture comparing a mellower concave that I liked and then their current one.
But wait a
And he
minute,
was
wait a
like-
minute.
he
You
was
just out of the
like-
blue. You say, hey, Jim
I was
Thiebaud,
about to say,
listen,
he's the
here's
best.
your.
No, I'd known him for a little bit.
Okay.
At that point.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wait,
yeah.
so like I totally understand what you're saying too, because I would ride, I rode for Expedition, but I would ride girl boards a lot, and what you're talking, those girl boards back in the day had the same thing. There was like very flat when it came down to that part, and I always felt like I connected better when I popped for whatever reason. I
Yep.
feel like, but is that kind of what's going on with that board too?
Maybe, yeah. There's a lot of. We should have a session someday and really get into this.
Yeah, because I was going nuts for a while, and then I found the board that I was,
Yeah.
and I'm so.
I'm,
Yeah.
I'm very happy on this concave. Like it works really well for me. I feel like I have a good combination of pop, and it's pretty comfortable, and it doesn't like, it does hold its strength on the nose and tail as well. So it's not like. There's always the risk that when you make something with less concave that it's going to sog out faster, but these ones haven't been. So
Okay.
And what size board is that?
this one's an 8125.
Okay.
125.
It's a bit shorter than I want it to be, but we are going to lengthen it a tiny bit. I actually like a fairly small board. Like I don't growing up, all the girl boards and stuff, all those boards back then were really short, and I think it just conditioned me. So when I ride, like a big, like an 825 that's 32 inches, which is your standard 825, it just feels too big to me. Too much to spin around. I don't really like it that much. So
See, I
I
think
hear you on that for sure.
Is it Venture Lows?
These are Venture Lows right now, yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
How does is that? So you say you switch a lot, but is this?
I've been switching less.
But that's
Less.
kind of dude. Venture Lows are hard to get. Like after I went back to a low truck, it feels way crazier.
Okay, but you ride Thunders, right?
Yeah.
They're not much higher.
But just that little bit though.
It's like 1.5 mils.
that's
Yeah.
what's so funny about
Yeah.
skating
Yeah.
though, is a millimeter
means
is the
everything.
world.
It changes your timing.
Yeah.
But Ventures are the furthest out. So if we're going to talk about wheelbase a little bit, I'm going to slide this mic back and try and get the board on the table properly. Yeah, let's get into wheelbase a little bit, right? Okay, so I learned that wheelbase is from these bolts to these bolts.
Yes, the inner
It's that
bolts.
measurement on a board. But your trucks have a wheelbase too, and they vary from brand to brand. And I don't get into all the brands because shoot me, right? Like I'm not going to get into every brand.
You should. There's not that many brands.
And
you should do all of them.
They're not all that good. If I had to do all of them, I just never.
Just like there's thousands of brands.
Never. I'm pretty much like Indie Venture Thunder.
Okay.
And I know Ace is like one of the most popular trucks,
we're
maybe
talking about
the
trucks.
most popular trucks right now.
Okay.
But I don't have the time and Ace isn't offering what I'm looking for. So I mentioned that boards have a wheelbase, right? That measurement can vary and it changes it a lot. But your trucks have a wheelbase too, and Ventures are the furthest pushed out.
Got you.
So I ride a pretty tight wheelbase on my board right now, a 14, which is like your standard from the 90s.
Yep.
But the Ventures push it out, and so it's balanced. Whereas if I'm riding Indies, I like a 14.25.
Because it brings it in a little
The
bit.
Indies go in.
Right.
So I'm going to tell you them in order. So Ventures are the widest, and then Thunders, and it's all about 1/8 increments roughly.
Okay.
Roughly. So then it goes Thunders, and then it goes Indies, and then it goes Aces.
1/8 of an inch.
About, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
so by the time you go from a Venture, which is the widest, to an Ace, it's about a 1/2 inch. So
Wow.
when you're
That's
riding
huge.
Aces, your axles are 1/2 inch closer together.
It's incredible, man. I
And that
never knew
really
yeah.
changes how your board operates.
Right.
And if you do that on a 14-inch wheelbase, it can actually feel kind of squirrely. You think about how a pickup truck turns. It's take a big radius. It takes a lot to go around a corner. And think about like a Volkswagen Golf. It's like,
Yeah. Right.
so the closer your wheels are together, the tighter your turn's going to be.
Okay. Interesting.
But it's also going to change how your board pops.
Yeah.
There's a lot of different stuff. But all right, so now let's get into tipping point really quick. So just think about a lever. So I'm blocking the mic here.
You're good.
All right,
Don't worry about it.
Think about a lever. So the further out I hold something, the heavier it gets.
Yep.
And the further in you bring it, the lighter it gets. So your axle width actually, it plays an effect in that. So the further out your axle is, the heavier your board snaps. And also the other thing is I'm trying to find a good way to show this. But like if you kick down on the tail and your tipping point is right here, it's going to be really heavy. You move it in, and I should probably show you this way so it makes more sense. But if it's way in, it's going to tip way easier.
Right.
Yeah.
And the further out you bring it towards the tail, the harder you have to snap down on the tail, and the further up your truck goes.
But we're talking about Ventures right here. I mean, you're on the heavier side.
Venture Low is actually a heavy truck.
Well,
Like
I mean, you're
further
just on the
size.
heavier side of the
Yep.
tipping point.
Yep, the heavier
Because
side of the
it
pop.
goes out further.
And then the shorter wheelbase balances that out.
See, I would I like a shorter trucks like Thunders. I skate for Indy.
Yeah, I know you're Indie Thunders. So Thunders are in just a bit. Do you know what the wheelbase on your board is? Is it a
Right now it's 14.
yeah? Which
Yeah,
is
it's a twin.
Crail does a lot of 14s.
Yeah.
They're one of the companies that still puts out a lot of those. So Thunders and a 14 is going to work good if you choose to snap your tail.
Right.
But like-
I don't really click the tail anymore. But yeah.
Wait, so on Venture, is Venture kind of the only truck now that it's as highs and lows? Because Thunder's all pretty much a highs, but it's
No.
like, I mean, mediums, whatever you want to call it.
8-inch Thunder 147
Yeah.
is lower than the 8 1/4 and 8 1/2 truck. Basically, 147 is about roughly 50 millimeters or like 50.5 millimeters, I think. I don't know exactly. I can't remember.
But like compared to Ventures, though.
Venture's like 48.
Okay. So
48.9 or something silly.
So what's your stance? Like, would you skate Venture highs?
I'll skate Venture highs if I have a longer nose and tail. So here's why. I still have to have the short wheelbase for Venture highs. Like when I ride them on a 14.25, I hate it. It takes so long for the tail to hit. You have to kick down so hard. And also the board rotates. So for like tray flips and stuff, it just, all your rotational flip tricks go slower when your axles are further apart. At least for me.
I need them quick.
Yeah. So, all right, what was your question
Well,
again?
I was just saying, like,
all right, Venture highs.
Yeah,
you're
Venture
asking
highs.
me about Venture highs. So I will ride Venture highs if the nose or tail is a bit longer, and that's actually what we're going for. Tomorrow, I'm probably going to get some new boards, and it's going to be a little bit bigger, a little bit longer, and I'm probably going to put Venture highs on it because the short tail. Remember when you're a little kid and your boards get so worn out, and they're like, the shorter your tail gets, the more it goes up here.
Yeah. So
the longer your tail goes, the quicker it hits.
Right.
And it also gives you a bit more leverage because it's further back. So if I have a tall truck with longer kicks, then it's still going to connect at the same point.
Let me ask you a question. Is there a reason why you're not making a video about this?
I just haven't thought about it.
No, the reason why I ask is because it's very interesting. I mean, when we have Paul Schmidt on the show, like it's very interesting stuff.
I watched that whole thing too.
A lot of people don't think of this. I go crazy because if I start to get into this whole board dilemma madness thing, like it just drives me more crazy. Growing up, I just saw a shape I liked. I put some trucks on it, good wheels, boom, we're out the door.
We good.
But
I did that too,
I
mostly.
do find it very interesting, though, and I think that a lot of people, if you're helping real skateboards develop a shape, I think a lot of people would be interested in what goes on there in your experience with this, like
within that process.
within the process.
Because of the channel, I have a depth of knowledge in this that is uncommon.
Sure.
There are some like slap heads,
Okay.
like the guys on slap that know that much, and their madness is worse than mine because they literally will buy every single new thing that comes out. And like every time a new iteration of something comes out, I don't care anymore, right? I'm like, I know what I like. I have a kind of small range of things that I will switch up.
Okay.
And no, new products, no.
Wait, so you're... Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, do what you want to do. I just think that this would be the development. It'd be like a series almost. It'd be the development of a shape.
When this board comes out, I am going to make a video about it because I'm excited about it.
But also the process, though. A lot of people love the process. They're going on a ride with you.
They do, I know.
know?
I've just needed to like kind of hibernate.
I feel
for a
you.
while.
No, I 100% understand. I'm just because you did mention on your channel like if you will make videos that interest you.
Yeah, so it wasn't 100% retirement.
Yeah, I know.
What I want to do now is if I feel like I have something really worthwhile, I will put it out.
Okay.
I'll make a video and I'll put it out. But what I no longer want to do is I don't want to just create content, for content's sake.
Okay.
Were you on a schedule before? Like, did you have to like post a video every week or month or whatever?
I never had to do anything, but I liked to do once a week.
Okay.
If in an ideal world, I would put something out once a week because it's something people can count on.
But so now you want to put out something that you care about and doesn't like, oh, I have to get a video out this week. What do I do?
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
It's like, oh, well, I guess I was trying this board with these trucks and it was kind of neat, so I guess I'll make a video about it. And I, like had a bunch of tripod footage from that, and I'm just like, well, I'll throw this over with some words about it.
So that would be considered filler.
Yeah. Yeah, and I don't want to do that.
Yep.
I only want to put... So what we're doing right now is an example of the kind of content I would like to be involved in. I want it to be in-depth and substantial.
Well, you did videos with Schmidt,
That was
and
cool.
That was like, we went down there and designed a board too, and he is he'll just keep going. Yeah, I'm like, well, I'm tired, man. I got to go home. He's already making a new board. I'm like, whoa, Schmidt,
He
chill.
just keeps going. He's got a lot of energy.
He keeps going.
Yeah.
But
so that's another example of the kind of things that I felt was very worthwhile.
right.
And the only reason I'm not talking about any of the things I might have coming up is because I don't like to commit to anything, and until it's posted on YouTube, it's not actually happened.
I get you. I get you.
All right.
Yeah. I mean, I think a lot of people.
If it's not on YouTube, it's not real, basically.
Like because things can change. Right? Things can change.
You could say you're
even,
doing
even this. I've told like 4 people.
Okay.
And like my closest group that I knew wouldn't say anything to anyone.
Right. Well, only a few people watch this, so you're
the
secret safe.
The thing is like, what if something changed? What if for some reason it doesn't come out, and I've put it on blast, and now it's right. You can't take that back.
Right.
So in this case, in worst case scenario, for whatever reason, if it didn't come out, at least only 4 people know about that.
It's kind of like Sheckler's backside flip. Similar, right? Yeah. I mean, he's coming to terms with it. It's cool. It's funny.
That's a good example. Yeah.
I know what you're saying, though. It's like it is. You don't want to overpromise.
I just have a philosophy that until something's real, it hasn't happened.
So you're basically designing a board that works well with adventures.
That's just the wheelbase. You can put a 14 and a quarter wheelbase on it. It'll be good for trucks with a shorter wheelbase. So the mold is not specific to the truck. Where you position the bolt holes is going to be specific to the truck.
Why do you want to keep switching?
I don't actually.
So like you're like, tomorrow I'm gonna put this new board on, put Venture Highs on. I'm like,
I
I'll lose my mind.
Yeah, I think you love torturing yourself.
No, I've gotten a lot better.
He's trying to find the magic.
I've gotten a lot better. So I've actually been mostly riding Ventures all year, with one stint on Thunders that was awesome. But my Thunder bushings sometimes disintegrate, and that's like I only ride truck stock. I won't change anything.
No bones.
I've gotten into the stock bushings. I love the stock bushings now.
Yeah. So, but like I have my things that I won't do, and the bushing vortex is one of them.
Right.
It's like no, changing bushings is the worst.
It comes with these. It comes with these.
And then they blow out.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, tight trucks, loose trucks?
I ride medium to medium loose, and I have my front truck. It's substantially looser than the back, like by at least a thread.
So you would never skate a twin tail.
No, I appreciate why people like twins, and I would even say that if you are starting out like brand new, skate a twin.
Is this
save yourself the grief?
Yeah, is this something
that
I agree?
Mm-hmm.
9club.com. Shameless plug. Do you envision this a new path for you in skateboarding, like helping companies do this stuff? Because I think a lot of people like
if they wanted to, I could be interested.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I could be interested. Like, hit me up. If you have something worth creating, I'm down.
Well, you kind of are you working with Etnies now? And
I'm not working with Etnies, but they did send me a box of shoes, and I want Etnies to do well because I loved Etnies in the mid 90s.
Yeah.
They were the best shoes. And once I started skating some, I was like, these are still really good. They need a few, in my opinion, there's a few tweaks to be made, what with, just colorways and, what logo where. But like, I think they have huge potential. I actually think Etnies could do really well in the next 5 years.
Right.
Well, it's not like they're doing bad, but they could do better. Is what you?
Yeah. I think they could actually like.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know what it's like to try and compete with the big sports brands, right? With the Nikes and the New Balances and Adidas. I don't know what it's like to try and compete with that, but I think there's actually a lot of people that are actually legitimately tired of wearing all of those brands and would try something else if it ticked more of their boxes.
Yeah.
Do you?
And I think Etnies could do that with a few calculated moves.
Yeah,
That's my thought.
Remember when you hit me up and you were like talking about S stuff, and I was like, you know what's funny, man? You sound exactly like me going into there when I first started, and then you start learning about.
Are you jaded now?
No, dude, it's crazy.
You learn the process.
I predicted the thing. I hit you up about the thing that's happening.
Yes, and I was like, okay, but I
wasn't wrong.
Oh yeah, I was like, I need to perfect
What's
the
happening?
Excel, and I was like, I've been trying to perfect it for 10 years. Like
I wasn't gonna bring it up. So
we're working on it now, and I keep so it's like it's this long process of getting it back.
When
to
you
the
guys
original.
get it right, I'm gonna wear that a lot because I had one pair of Excels in '97ish, and they were like the best shoe.
Yeah,
Loved them. And then I had one pair in 2001, which is the or maybe 2003, and it's the current Excel OG, and they were different. It wasn't the same shoe.
Yeah. No, I was in there for literally almost 8 years, saying it over and over and over and over to the point where they got sick of me, basically. So they're like, all right, we're doing it. For,
Good.
I was
Persistence
"Thank you,
pays off.
God."
Yeah.
So
We could use it now, but
Yeah.
later we'll do.
No, but I was hyped that you said that though, because I was like, I'm hyped that there's people like you out there like wanting the skate companies to make perfect skate shoes.
And I want it for the skateboarders, right? It isn't, I'm happy to be in the background too. I don't need to be like front and center. Even with this thing that Real's doing, he's like, well, do you need your name on a board, or like, you didn't ask me like that.
Right.
He asked me legitimately. He's like, what do you want? I'm like, I don't need anything other than I'm stoked we can talk about it, but I don't need that kind of attention for it.
Sure.
I actually would rather work in the background and help get the products to where I feel like they're going to benefit people. And, basically I'm kind of selfish because I'm also trying to create what I want.
But that's what you should do.
Well,
Sometimes you can't try to please an audience. You just need to make what you want to make.
Well, and when you're excited about something, people often follow.
There you go.
Yes.
Because they
See,
can feel that.
To see if it's going to work for them,
Right.
for sure.
So I started skating the Joslin, and I was like, this is like an old Etnies. I haven't skated a shoe that felt quite like this in a long time. So it's already got, the product is already exactly where I want it to be in terms of how it performs. So now can I tweak it into something that's more marketable? That's what I would do, right? That's just an example. I'm not trying to like, and the wrap, for example.
Right.
I skated the wrap. I was like, this is actually the best one I've skated so far. But I'm not stoked on the current colorways. And if they can get the colorways, the reason I like the wrap and the Joslin is because they're pretty low key. And I, didn't necessarily have a good perception. Like, I didn't want to skate Etnies. I don't want to see the bike logo, right? The current one. But there was this one white pair of Joslins, and I really like white shoes because I love the contrast.
Yeah.
I love the grip and the shoe. And so I wanted to, the white Joslin was the first one that was like, it was a point of entry. I was like, I'm willing to try that. And I'd heard people say good things about the Joslin, so I bought a pair, and I was like, these are really good. So can you guys keep making more that are subdued colorways that I'd be willing to wear? And I have the same feeling about the wraps. If they make more that I'd be willing, not everything has to have a logo. If we make some stuff, maybe the marketers will say different. No, it has to. But give people a point of entry. Give them something they're willing to try.
I feel like the wrap is the most underrated shoe, kind of.
Dude,
like
it's so
that's
good.
iconic. It's iconic shoe, and that's where like the Excel came from.
I used to love that shoe, bro.
Yeah.
And I feel like my
The wraps are so good.
Yeah.
They're so good.
You
bro.
wore a bunch of those in Goldfish, I think.
The red ones, the black ones, and the like royal blue. I think at that time.
Oh, sick! Yeah,
It was an all solid color.
Yeah.
There was no, like,
The tan and the navy ones were really popular. That's the one that was in there the most with Goldfish. So I roasted them for that. I didn't know that it was a Jordan colorway, but maybe it doesn't need to be a Jordan colorway. But I wore the white ones, and they were really good. I was just like, I can skate. I can do all my tricks when the shoe isn't even broken in, and it skated really well for the entire life of the shoe.
You're a cup sole guy?
Yeah, I used to like Volk, but now they hurt my feet. I like a little more padding.
Well, those aren't even like the original.
No, they're not
wraps,
very bulky.
But yeah, they're like a little slimmed down a little bit.
But they still have a decent sole. It's not like I don't like when the cup sole has no midsole.
Yeah.
I think those have a midsole.
Yeah. Okay.
And so there's just that extra level of, it takes away a little bit of board feel, but it adds a lot of protection. Like if I skate something like a Nike Blazer, they're an amazing skate shoe, and I can skate really well in them. But my feet hurt a lot. The arches of my feet, I start getting like a plantar fasciitis, which
Yeah,
if
oh
anyone
my
knows,
God.
it's like a marble in the middle of
Sucks.
your arch.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, I get that real bad in each one.
Do you want to get into this stuff? I mean, like, do you want to work for a company in the industry? Like, do you want to...
If it was worthwhile, I would.
Worthwhile meaning...
Well, like if it was like a good change in direction and I could actually support my family doing that, of course.
And contribute, yeah.
Why not?
Yeah.
Why not? It's
Right.
what I love, and I have knowledge about it.
I could tell.
But the
That's
point
thing.
is,
yeah.
For sure.
Just because I like it, and just because there might be people that want the knowledge, it doesn't mean that the juice is worth the squeeze.
Totally.
Yeah.
100%.
When it comes to actually securing your family's future.
Right.
This is so true.
Right. And that's a
And this
That's
is
it.
skateboarding, so it's hard to find
Yeah.
that
Good
niche that's going to
luck.
be able to
It is.
support. You got a big
but
family
at
here.
the level that I'm working at it in right now, it doesn't take too much of my time, and it is worthwhile.
Right.
There you go.
I've managed to get a board that I really want to skate. That I'm super stoked on. So, yeah, that's good.
Did you like? I mean, when you were like full going in your YouTube channel and everything, and doing product reviews and everything, did you like kind of being on the outside of skateboarding, not in the industry? Did it make it a lot easier for you, or?
Well, I think being oblivious to the fact that there was animosity towards skate YouTubers was a good thing.
Yeah, but you know what though? Like people love you though. Like you.
Well, I didn't come in there with an agenda. I hear it all the time. People are like, well, when I want an unbiased review, I watch a Ben De Gros video.
Right.
You know, and I think they are getting that. Like I'm telling them, if you are able to understand what I'm saying in the video, you can pick out like, sometimes I wouldn't say I sugarcoat, but I'm not like, well, I hated this about the product, or I just say like, well, this wasn't my preference. I didn't necessarily like this, and then I'll read the one comment where it's like, mellow board sogged out too fast. Got it.
Right.
Like there's the people,
They said it for
the
you.
people that
They
know the
read into
language.
it.
Yeah. Got it.
But I was able to do it in a way that wasn't necessarily damaging to anyone's brand. And I think that's important, right? That's just being diplomatic.
Yeah.
There's always a way to polish a turd.
What was the first
Well, my point was, if it's really a turd, it's not going to be in the videos.
Yeah.
True, but
It's not gonna make the
okay.
cut.
Little turds here, like little
Turds.
bird turds.
Nuggets.
Yeah.
What was the first company that reached out to you?
I honestly can't actually remember.
Oh.
So companies would actively reach out to you and be like, "Hey, we want to send you some stuff to review on your
I mean,
channel." Would they pay you?
No. There's no money changing hands. The only time I love that look. He's so like sus. So the only
Brand
time,
deals are a YouTube
No,
thing.
I think it's
That's
super
why.
important
Go
to
ahead.
talk about that.
Please
I'd
do.
love to talk about
Go
brand
ahead.
deals.
Yeah.
So Cariuma was the only one that reached out in that way. Actually, I've had tons of offers for brand deals, and I've turned them all down except for the Cariuma one. And the reason was because in the very beginning, before they saturated Instagram and everything, and before I realized that every other YouTuber was given the same pair of shoes with the exact same script, their selling points were pretty good, right?
Okay.
The shoe was like, I was like, I'm not crazy about the logo, but like environmentally sustainable and this and that. And also you're just getting attention. You're like, like I got asked out at the prom or something, and I way undersold myself for what it was one of those things. And once I said yes, I almost felt like I couldn't back out. Right. But I did the video and it says sponsored content.
Okay.
Right. And, but the shoes were good. I'll be totally honest. The shoes are actually really good skate shoes.
Okay.
And I told them all the stuff. I was like, I think if you guys can get some shoes that are maybe a little less logo, or if you like, I said a bunch of stuff and it was like totally deaf ears. And so over time I was like, okay, I see how they want to operate, and I don't feel like there's any space for me to do, they're not. They just want to do their thing.
You're talking to a marketing person. They're
Yeah.
they're not there to
they
take
just-
Ben's designs and bring them to the designers.
Yeah, they're
you
like,
know?
say what we want you to say and take our money.
Right.
And I hated how that felt. And so I'm glad I did it, because I learned that it felt really shitty.
Because you took that video down as soon as that time period was up.
Yeah. And I think I hope I'm not saying too much. Like I said, I think they're good shoes, but I'm not down with their marketing and how, like, the general vibe.
Right.
How long would you have to keep up a video
I had to
like
keep that up for like a year.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah.
What did the people that watched it? What did they think?
Oh, there was a lot of like, ew. No,
right.
people don't hold back.
Yeah,
People don't hold back.
Oh my God, it's YouTube.
Yeah.
Comment
So,
section could be brutal.
yeah.
Damn.
But it was a learning experience.
And I gave him a try. I gave him
Yeah.
a good, honest try, and but it just wasn't. Yeah, so I've done about 2 sponsored videos on my construction channel, but one of them was like the 100% like dumb, irrelevant sponsored content. But that was because I found out how much you could get. And I'll talk about that for that, because I could easily get like $2,000 per like $2,000 US for a sponsored post on my construction channel.
Okay.
on your
Right, like,
YouTube,
imagine
on your
if-
Instagram.
No,
YouTube.
on my YouTube. Just
Okay.
just an integrated ad,
Okay.
right? The 30 seconds of, or like a minute of.
Oh, not even using the product. Just like, hey, this
Yeah.
this episode's brought.
Yeah.
We're sponsored by.
Yeah, I
you
could get like 2,000 US
Okay.
for one of those, and you do like 8 of those a month, and or however many, you're gonna make pretty good money.
Sure.
But I hated how those felt so much that I refused to do them. I will not do any like official sponsored content.
Here's the
Wait,
thing.
even if it's like something that you would use and like you'd
Yeah.
back that product?
Okay, I do have one on the channel, and it is for a product I'd use. It's called the Tape Buddy. I'm not necessarily like 100% stoked on how he markets it and a bunch of stuff, but it's actually a good product. It will make people's lives easier who are trying to tape drywall for the first time. So I actually don't feel bad about that one because I know it's going to help people.
When you're coming from a genuine place, I think that's when it's appropriate to
Yeah.
actually do it and don't feel any type of way because that's how you truly feel.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
I think that's totally okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
And
think
I'm not,
that
and I
is-
don't even hate on people for doing sponsored content. It's just like, I don't like when I'm watching a video, I don't want to hear it. Like I'm like
But
when
it's
it goes
it's
into
the
that.
YouTube thing now, though.
Don't care. I don't like it. Like I don't. And
Yes, you're
because,
right.
but
Yeah.
here's the thing, because I don't like it, I will not do that to the people that watch my
Here's your
videos.
little, here's your little commercial.
Yeah,
here.
there's the Tape Buddy.
Yeah, the Tape Buddy. By
Yes.
the way, we'll send you an invoice for this.
No, send it to Tape Buddy.
Okay. My bad.
See if they respond.
But it's funny because like I feel like skateboarding is one thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Very opinionated people. Very, they stick to their guns. They like what they like. They don't like what they don't like.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like when you pop the bubble, as you did with your
Mm-hmm.
construction channel, it's more forgiving. It's more free. There's more people don't really care that much,
But-
to a certain degree.
But it just comes down to the fact that it's not something that I enjoy to watch, and I don't want because I don't like it, I won't do that to people. And because I don't view the viewers as like, I refer to, people as viewers, but like, it's my fellow human.
Yeah.
They're not my subs. They're not my followers. They are my fellow human. And it's about, if I dislike it, I will not do that to them.
We do an athletic greens.
I was going to say, do we
AG1.
have... No, and I don't...
Because we like that, though. We use it
I take it every day.
Every day.
I wouldn't say that shit for no reason. That's
Exactly.
Just, that's
Yeah.
just how
But
I feel.
this is-
I feel the same way you do. But I think that, I guess there's a line that can be crossed to a certain degree, but I feel that I stand on it. Like if I fucking if promoting it, I fuck with it. That's just how
Are we
I...
prepping them for the Athletic Greens commercial? Should we do
It
that
already
right now?
happened a long time ago.
We've been doing
It already happened a long time ago.
You issue another one.
This is
No,
the real
but it is,
natural
but it is something that we do. But at the end of the
But
day,
if you take it and it's actually beneficial and you,
Right.
like totally different.
yeah,
totally-
that's the
totally
thing.
different.
Well, I don't think anybody wants to become a snake oil salesman.
Mhm.
You
And
know?
and that's exactly it, right? And so when I did those, it was just like a gut feeling of like, I don't like saying what people tell me to say. So I couldn't do it.
Yeah.
That's ultimately what it is going off a script felt so unnatural and awkward to me. And then like watching it and editing it, I didn't like it. And I also didn't feel like the juice was worth the squeeze because you essentially are actually having to create a whole second video per video. And I didn't like doing that either. So that's why I don't do it. I would literally rather just go work a day of construction than do a sponsored, like a
Right.
typical sponsored content.
And I think that you do have that. You have another job. You have a construction job, which then feeds
Yep.
your channel because you're actually working while you're filming a
Yep.
YouTube video.
yeah.
that
it-
one's pretty
it's great,
good.
right? I mean, we're just I think
And I'm starting to enjoy. I got to the point where I didn't have to work.
Right.
I had to make YouTube videos, but I didn't actually have to rely on construction work.
But you need the
So-
construction work to make the
Yeah,
videos.
So I did a few.
Yeah.
I'd do a job and I'd milk it for content, and then I'd just like put those videos up for a while, and I'd skate a lot. I'd make the skate videos. It was a good routine, and I got a break. I got a break from the daily grind for the first time in my life. I got to spend a lot more time with my kids. It was a life-changing experience.
Wait, and
Like,
the
I'm
people-
so grateful for it.
The people that were hiring you didn't mind you making these videos?
Yeah.
It was under the pretext that I would.
Okay.
Oh.
Okay.
So they hit you up like, hey, can you do this and film it? Or no, you
No,
let
no,
No,
them
he's
know.
just
You-
saying,
you
I'm going
knew.
to film something.
Oh,
Most
okay,
of
yeah,
my
sorry, yeah,
jobs,
yeah.
most
Yeah.
of my jobs actually came from the channel.
Okay,
right? There's
yeah.
a little,
That's
there's the
rad.
little email in the about section, and they'd be like, hey, or do you want to do this job? And I'd be
That's
like,
super dope.
Okay.
sure. Can
Yeah.
I film videos about it? Yeah.
Yeah.
And
That's how
you
they
se-
saw you. It's like,
Yeah.
yeah, come do it here.
Yeah, and then you send them a fixed price, so you're not like working hourly and filming videos,
Right.
So you make the money from the job, and it was often just a little bit, like a little bit less than I might charge if I was just gonna go and grind out the
Because
job.
of the back end of it.
Yeah, because I'm gonna make some money off that, and because if the job's maybe gonna be a little bit slower because I'm doing that, they should be compensated somewhat.
Totally.
Do you like skating, right? Small community. I don't know how the drywall community is, but I like that there's a, do you,
I've done a lot of jobs for skateboarders, especially
but
the
I love
that.
distributors.
right. But
Skaters
do you,
supporting skaters,
do you
bro.
talk to other YouTube? Because there's another construction guy that I watch. He's always wearing a blue shirt.
Is that the Renovision, Jeff Thorburn?
Yeah, the
I
Renault.
don't know him personally.
Okay. He's killing. He kills it on there, man.
He does really well. But you know what? He actually also doesn't do sponsored content. He made a video about that.
Oh,
He's
really?
like, I'm not going to do it. But he's also killing it so hard on his channel that he doesn't need to.
This guy, yeah, home renovation.
I don't know him. I haven't ever chatted with him, but he's doing very well.
Dude, I will pass out on my couch with YouTube playing, and I'll wake up to this dude building a shed or something. It's so funny. My algorithm, when it knows when I'm taking a nap, because I'll wake up to this guy. But I love him. He's rad. But I love construction videos, man. And I think a lot of people can just watch your videos and maybe learn something, even though they're not even going to do anything with it. You know? And I think that's what's rad about construction stuff.
Well, the drywall stuff has a mesmerizing way about it too, because it kind of like, it's like, oh, that looks bad and now it looks good, and there's a dance to it. I think that's part of it, when you're like smoothing it out and it just looks very rhythmic and satisfying.
Sure.
Like zone out on
There's
it.
an ASMR-ishness to it.
For sure.
When you're making a video like the last video you made, like, hey, I'm taking a break. This is my last. I mean, obviously, like, you don't like the clickbait stuff, but you're like, I'm done. This is, you kind of.
You knew it wasn't my last. You kept saying, he's like, I think he's just taking a break.
Of course. And I like the fact that I was like, I called you YouTube, and I was like, whoa, I had to change that dialogue.
I think I made a comment about
did.
that. I
You
was like,
did.
thanks for not
But
calling me that.
here you go. I mean, I don't know. It's just interesting to me because I know that burnout is such a real thing, but like when you're actually like going to take a break from it, something that you really like doing, and then here you are making a video of it. Now you're confirming that. You can't wake up a week from now and be like, you know what? Yeah, I'm gonna make another video today. You're kind of like,
I mean, we're filming while I'm out here.
oh yeah,
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah, of course. Why would I come to LA and
For fun.
for 8 days and skate and not film anything?
okay.
That's like, it's unique. It's enjoyable. I'm not just skating the same thing, doing the same tricks.
Right.
I'm doing the same tricks in different spots.
Okay.
But that's a part of you. That's being a skateboarder. Anywhere you would go, you would, want to film and document some certain things. Like,
Especially here.
for sure.
Yeah.
Especially here.
I like that you went to the courthouse and measured the stage.
Yeah.
That was
Oh,
good.
I
26
wondered. You know what?
26
It's exactly as high as I thought it was.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. Not that I knew it by measurement specifically, but like just looking at it, I'm like, I bet that's higher than it looks. Dan actually, how Dan described it, he goes, it's uncomfortably high. And it's exactly it.
I
That
think
is true.
It's uncomfortably high.
That makes total
26 inches sounds low for
It
some.
doesn't. It doesn't sound high.
It doesn't sound high, but when you go there, you're like, oh no, this is.
I don't even like ollieing up it.
Yeah, it's tough. It's weird.
But it also now I like meniscus stuff and so I don't like popping that hard off my back leg anymore, and I don't like the compression, like having to get into the deep squat and stand up. That hurts.
You had a meniscus injury on your popping,
Torn it twice.
torn it
on my
twice.
right leg.
Oh,
Surgery or they
so
snipped a
I-
little bit off.
Yeah, I did that the first time. 8 years ago, I tore my meniscus. And so this is pre-YouTube, right? Like I said, I was skating, but I tore my meniscus, and that was like a year of not being able to skate. I did end up doing the surgery, and I regretted it for 6 months because it was really sore. Mm-hmm. Yeah, see, that's uncomfortably high. You
Yeah,
see
it is
how I like that?
uncomfortably high.
And I
don't
took
even
the
know if-
easy way down.
I don't even know.
Early
if-
grab.
Ben, listen, to be honest, I don't even know if I could ollie up that thing anymore. God damn.
I didn't do it this year yet. We've been there twice.
Really?
Yeah,
180? 180's easier up it.
in a way.
Yes,
yeah.
I think you could just
in a way.
fling it up there.
But yeah, I did the surgery, and it got rid of the locking issue, because with a meniscus tear, certain types it'll lock, and I couldn't straighten out my knee all the way when it would lock.
That's scary.
Oh, damn.
It's gross. But meniscus is one of those things. It's not like a ligament. It's not. It feels gross. It's not excruciatingly painful. It just feels really gross, and then it feels a bit unstable and uncomfortable after for a day or two.
Damn.
But once it stopped hurting, which was maybe a year before the channel, that's kind of when I got back into skating again, because all of a sudden I was more mobile. And then it didn't cause me any problems, but I retore it, like the exact same injury, 2.5, 3 years ago. Fuck. Yeah, that sucked. I was like, at that point, I was like, okay, the channel's over. I'm done. Can't skate. But after a couple months, I could mess around. After a few more months, I was actually skating, but I could only do backside, no front side, because the motion, the best way to imagine it was like, imagine kicking a soccer ball the way you use the side of your foot. That is like, no.
Yeah, that
nothing.
seems like it.
And so that's kind of like a front side motion. So I had to do everything backside or switch, because it was my rear leg.
Okay.
But after about 6 months, it never locked anymore, and it wasn't painful. And I think the tear just kind of wore away. But I also think I have, we talk about meniscus being like a bushing. I just don't have a lot of bushing.
Still there.
I've kind of thin bushings. Or, like a chunk blows out of your bushing.
Yeah.
Well, when I lean on that side of my truck, it's kind of, it tips a little faster.
Right.
Damn,
So
dude,
that's kind of, but it's been sore these days. Like, it kind of hurts all the time, but I can still skate. And
That's a plus.
yeah, it is what it is, right? I skate more transition because of it, because if I don't have to start jumping right away and I'm just like flowing, it feels good. Curbs actually kind of hurt. There's actually a lot of
The
impact.
bash factor.
Yeah, there's a lot of impact when you skate
Yeah.
a curb. You get
True.
that front truck on, and then you slam the back.
Yeah.
And that's the leg that hurts. Yeah, I feel it. I feel it on curbs.
I could see that 100%.
Sure.
Still skate them, but
They're fun.
yeah, they are. I love curbs. The slams are usually harder than on ledges, though.
I know, right?
I know. I
Dude.
think I know
It's so
why.
They could take you
Crazy.
out. They could take you out.
I think it's because when you skate a curb, you're standing more straight up, so you Superman harder, either forwards or
Oh.
backwards. But when you're on a ledge, your legs are bent, and when your
True.
legs are bent, you're more stable.
This is that.
Oh.
That you hit it.
Damn,
right
you
on.
Pretty
are-
sure that's exactly why.
For sure.
Well, I had
Very
this
important.
such
I
a
can see that.
hard slam on a curb not long ago, and I was like, why was that so bad?
Yeah.
I love
I
you
don't
right off
even-
your
Bend your
feet.
knees.
I love the fact that you analyze.
Very
I
analytical.
really trip out on skateboarders, because there's the skateboarders who could be the best in the world. They don't care about nothing. They'll grab somebody else's board and ride it. And they'll just grab a shape,
Well-
whatever. And then there's like
Jamie Foy?
Jamie Foy.
There's
He's
different-
super critical. He's super analytic.
There's different types of intelligence too, and athletic intelligence doesn't always include like having an analytical mind.
True. I can see
But
that.
I think the reason it trips you out about Jamie Foy is maybe you're not expecting it, right? Chris
I
Joslin
expected
is
that.
also
I ex- I
Chris
mean,
Chris
I expected
Joslin is also
nowadays.
one of those guys who actually, like, when he's been on, I've been listening to him. He's like, no, I got to have the round edge on the wheel
Sure.
because it flips better, and
Yeah.
Yeah.
and he's like, no, I he'll mess around a little, like try the indie mids, and he's like back on the rate, and he has reasons. You can hear he's like, I noticed this.
Right.
So he's one of those people that does actually notice stuff.
It's interesting too, because I mean, Nija has been on here and he's talked about how he like dremels out his little kickflip area so that he gets a nice little.
Yeah, so he doesn't have to
like-
waste the time where, when it grips too much in
Right.
a brand new pair of shoes,
Yeah.
and it takes like 2 sessions to wear that away. So he just skips that.
Yeah, yeah.
What about have you talked to PJ Ladd before?
I did yesterday.
Yeah, he can
Dude.
More than
very
me. More than me. Yeah, more than me.
Yeah, he's
There's a lot of people you should talk to. Have you talked to Andy Anderson?
No, not yet.
Right.
I
You
have-
should? Oh, really?
That would be a good conversation
Andy,
right
I've
there.
met Andy in passing.
Okay.
And we're from roughly the same area,
Yeah.
too.
Oh, yeah.
Call him up, Raj. Let's get him over here.
Right on it.
It'll happen one day.
He's awesome, and
He
he
really
is
is
so
the
he can
best.
nerd out on this stuff all day long, man. And I love hearing about it, but it's so hard for me to like interject my opinions because I don't really have any. I'm
Same.
just like, I just like
I
what
like
I
to hear it
like.
as well.
Well, and
all
also
day.
Yeah.
you can go too far. Like I always try to keep it digestible, and I think part of that is because like I go deep, but not to like the savant
Different
thing,
language,
not
deep.
to like the you have an understanding that other people can't have.
Right.
I try to go to the like, I know this changes the skateboard. This is how, and this is how you can observe it.
Right.
But if it goes beyond people's capacity to observe it, Like if it's so, Andy's just how he designs his board is a good example of that. Most people will never be able to use his board in the way he can use it. He's kind of the only person that can use it like that.
Every inch of his board
The purpose.
is a purpose.
Yeah. And I'm really bored. That's the other thing. I'm actually pretty boring in most of my tastes. Like I like a semi-blunt kick, not too square, not too round, not pointy. Most of what I like is like pretty consumer level.
Have you tried Andy's board?
No.
Me neither. I'm scared to try that thing.
I've tried people's who have his setup.
Roger swears by it.
Hey,
Yeah.
I mean,
Well,
like, if it works, right?
Right.
I like the standard shape board because it's how I learned how to do everything, and all my tricks still work on it. When it gets too square, it feels weird. When it gets too pointy, I'm like, where's the space for my feet? Too square, the kicks will, like, it starts getting in the way. You try and scoop a tray, and there's like this big lump there.
Yeah.
I'm so glad that I'm not thinking about all this stuff.
Well,
Because it just would drive me crazy. I'm already crazy I was just telling Roger the other day, is just having two setups now. I've got my slappy setup, and then I got a board setup that if I'm going to click my tail, it's a 775. I'm still on the 775.
I only have one board.
But I don't
It changes over time.
But I don't like having this, like, now I'm like, oh, I'm having board madness about the curbs. I'm like, okay, let me get a longer trucks. Let me do this. Let me do that. Let me get 8.5. Like, now I'm starting to think about it a little too much.
But this is where the tweaking starts, because you're like, well, I want a board that, like, can do all the things that are important to me, which is why I went back down to a smaller board, because I've done the 8.5, with the indie standard 149s. It's like big, heavy. I can still do almost everything on it. I love it for ledges. I love it for curbs. I love it for transition. But when it comes to flipping my board around, it's harder. It's
heavy.
It's slower.
Slower,
And when I honestly look at my footage, I'm like, that trick was kind of floppy. That trick was slow. That wasn't high enough. And so I scaled it down, and then on a 8125, with like 8-inch trucks right now, I'm like, I can still skate transition. I can still skate curbs. Maybe it's not like, maybe it doesn't feel quite as good as on an 8.5, but I can still do it all. But I can really flip my board around the way that I learned how, the way that is natural to me.
You got to condition yourself when you're riding an 8.5. Like, you can't just jump on it and think like, I'm gonna be able to do a 360 flip the way I do it on a smaller.
Oh,
Yeah,
it
not the
feels
way
crazy.
you can.
No,
You can if
like,
you know how to
see-
tray flip.
Yes. But you see people like, obviously they start scaling up, and you're like, they've took the journey to get to that point.
And
So
for
that's
some-
why it's easier for them to do that.
And for some people, it's natural. So who's that guy that's on Death Wish that has crazy pop?
Oh, JK's.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I think he rides, like an 8625, 149 Thunders, but like it doesn't look small.
It doesn't.
When he does his tricks, it looks like the right size board for him.
It really
Yeah.
does. That's true.
That dude's incredible, man. Yeah.
Pop for
Yeah.
days.
How tall is he? What, 6'4", 6'3"?
He's tall, yeah.
I'm not too sure how tall he is, but definitely got
I mean,
snap.
that matters as well. To a
Not
degree.
all tall skaters have pop. I have mid pop at best.
How tall are you?
And it's getting lower.
What are you, 6'2"?
I'm 6'1".
He said it's getting lower.
Is your brother around the same height?
He's a bit shorter.
Oh, okay.
I think like slightly shorter people sometimes can have more pop because they're lighter, closer to the ground.
Yeah.
Tiago would be a good example.
Brandon Westgate.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yep.
Straight up.
Tori too.
damn.
Tori's got
Sure.
crazy snap.
Yep.
All
Yeah.
day.
Yeah, there's less weight to put up into the air.
Yeah.
They have shorter limbs, so they're not like, think about, when somebody's like curling. If you have long arms, the further that weight is out on your hands, the heavier that weight is for
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
You have
More pressure.
short, powerful limbs. They can do that more efficiently.
Like, day one's not popping crazy high, but I feel like he's explosive.
Definitely.
And he can
dude.
pop. Watch his old videos. He's got it.
Oh yeah,
Right?
It's
It-
there.
it was
for
there.
Sure. He might not utilize it the way that other people would, but his skill set is so gnarly. He don't need to.
Day one is the only person that will ever be day one.
Straight
It
up.
was a unique set of circumstances that
Straight up.
created him in the first place, and none of that will all happen at the same time ever again.
I agree.
Yeah.
Straight up.
Talking about he was built in a laboratory. The
I-
correct circumstances were there
Day
to
one
create
is
this
very rare, bro.
phenomenal
I mean,
creature.
he's one of those 1 in a million talent.
Yeah,
But he also
100%.
grew up in a certain era at a certain time.
He went through the phases, bro.
Yeah.
Straight up.
Yeah. So you can never recreate that. Rodney Mullen would be another example of like, because he has that background of like freestyle and then learning how to apply it to street, which is really impressive because he's like one of the only people that did that, at least recorded people that did that
successfully.
Yeah. And so he has this understanding of how a skateboard can work that unless you are a freestyle skater from the ground up cannot be recreated. It just can't, because the modern way we do things already exists. And so you're going to know it's there and gravitate towards it to some degree anyways.
Conversation with him would be pretty amazing as well.
Yeah, I'd love to meet him.
I'd love to have a conversation.
There's a lot of people in skateboarding that I would love to sit down and have a conversation with. Because he's also, I don't think he gets a lot of credit for it, but he was one of the guys that was shaping a lot of boards. He was always in the wood shop, I think, wasn't he? Right? And so he's always tinkering with stuff.
Definitely.
And so that whole like world group, they were all on his boards, I think.
He was the one,
right?
Definitely.
Yeah. So he has the influence of, like the muscle. People debunk muscle memory, but I'm going to use the term. Sort of how people learned to do tricks was on boards that he kind of designed.
100%. Yeah. He doesn't get credit for driving the van a lot too.
I give him
on
credit
tours.
for that.
Dude, I just could imagine Rodney Mullen driving you around on tours.
He did it all, bro. He was the man.
Talk about multi-talented, dude. That's crazy,
dude.
Smartest
he just loves it though. But that's why we're all here, man. It's because we love this shit.
Wait, he was team manager and making boards and skating.
Yep.
Team manager job alone is psycho. Dealing with all those, you guys.
Think about the group of dudes that he was having.
And back then too, yeah, it was different.
It was gnarly.
It was different.
Oh man,
no cell phones, like trying to wrangle up these guys.
I gotta call Teron. Teron's missing.
It's
I don't know where he is. How do you feel? Do you keep up with a lot of the other skateboarders that are on the internet, on the YouTube?
I can't.
You can't.
It's too much.
It is a lot.
Yeah. I'll check in on one of Dan's videos once in a while. I'm trying to think about who, Tom was doing some stuff. I checked in a little bit for a bit.
Tom Astis doing a great job.
He really is.
That's so. Tom, not Tom specifically, but this is an interesting thing that I think we should talk about.
Please.
Even though we've totally missed gone over some of the other things we were talking about, but
good.
We'll get back to it.
About
we? The maybe.
We don't know.
I think we will. I think we will.
Okay.
So, the thawing of the ice between the industry and YouTube.
Okay.
It's happening, and it's been happening for a while.
Yeah.
100%.
So the fact that we actually have one pro, and there's more, but like Tom, I think was the first, big name pro that was filming tripod stuff and putting it on YouTube.
Yeah.
Right? That was like he in my opinion is the first one that's breaking down that wall. Paul Rodriguez though was the sign. He was the monumental shift. Like Paul has I noticed it was probably like October-ish, September-ish. You could see all of a sudden Paul's like he posted.
Yep.
He posted a week later. Oh, he's just posted. Paul is making concerted effort to gain a following and a presence on YouTube.
Yes.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And that's substantial because he's a big name and he has influence in the industry and people will follow suit.
Yeah.
Right. One thing that go ahead, please finish your thought.
Oh, well, no, we can keep going. I'm interested to hear what you think.
Well, I was just going to say, because a lot of the times, and we're talking, I want to bring it even back further before Paul started even posting this. He was posting like unboxing videos.
He did that years ago.
But
then stopped.
Right. But I also think that like there is certain like things, and I think he got a lot of like slack for that, but it was like, the way that I look at things, I'm like, he's not making it for me. He's not making it for you. He's not making it for Ben. He's making it for the kids out there, that really like are a fan of Paul and want to see what he got in his box.
I like what he's doing, and I think Paul does really well on video.
Oh,
He's
yeah.
got a magnetic personality.
He does.
Yeah, well,
definitely.
a while ago he basically had a YouTube channel that was showcasing other skateboarders. Like he would have like bang-ins, at the Berrics. He would I remember I got on one. It was like a little 30-second clip of my skating at that time. I was like, damn, that's cool.
There's an old video on his channel. Like when I was first starting into YouTube, there was one that he probably did years before, and you're in it. And you guys are like hanging out at his house playing video games, and then you go do a bunch of flat ground.
Oh, that was here. That was literally here. We did switch laser flips in the video.
Yeah.
Well, Tom was there.
Yeah.
But I remember I was just like, hey, I'm gonna come over and film YouTube. It's him by himself, and I was like, yeah, let's do it.
Yeah.
It's Paul Rodriguez. You're not gonna be like, oh no, dude, I'm not gonna do that.
I turn Paul
but
down all the time.
That was before it became contentious.
Yeah.
So what do you think now about breaking that? I think that
I think it's a good thing.
I've been a huge proponent of skateboarders like creating their own YouTube channel because like there's an audience that lives on YouTube. Let's be honest, right? But I will say, a lot of people, we are seeing a lot of influx right now of a lot of people starting their own channels.
Theories.
But I think hopefully they all evolve into their own thing, because right now they're taking one solid thing that works, like the tripod, the camera, the thing, and I want to see people venture off into their own lane.
So in Paul's or in Tom's case, I think a lot of that is going to have to do with the limitations of what he is doing. Like he's a dad, right? He lives on the East Coast, doesn't he?
Yep.
Yeah, so he's working with what he's got. You know, he's skating at the time he has to skate, which is probably often when a lot of his buddies are working.
True.
So he's like, I got, these couple of hours to go out and skate and film. And I think it works though, because it's to some degree it's what people are used to, but he's also so talented, so consistent that he can put out something that's like, you watch that and you're like, wow.
Like he filmed that in a couple hours.
Yeah.
You actually see how good he actually is in those videos.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. I think he shines. And so,
but I don't think a lot of people can pull that off, though. That's what I'm saying. That's why I hope
says they have to?
Well, I'm saying that's why I'm saying I hope a lot of these skaters that are following this certain mold of a YouTube, channel will find their direction.
I think it's
find
going,
their way.
I think it's going to. Like I said, the ice is only thawing.
Yeah.
Or NHS in general has been making a clear effort for the last couple of years to try to create clickable, engaging content.
They do a phenomenal job. And I think a lot of people can learn from Santa Cruz. I think a lot of these companies too, it's just like, it's hard for them. They give all their content to Thrasher, right? And because they know that they're going to be guaranteed at least 60,000 views on a video, right? If they put it on their own channel, are they going to get those views? But at the same time,
if they don't build it.
True. Thank you. But at the same time, content drives the algorithm, right? So a lot of people think algorithm. If you have a good video, Johnny's vid that came out a little while ago, like he had like 1,000 subs, but it got hundreds of thousands of views because why? It was a good video and it spread, So there is that kind of like, hey, put it out on your own channel. We're seeing that happen a little bit more often now.
Pedro
Delfino.
He's doing it, right?
Right.
That you wouldn't.
He still put out his part on Thrasher.
Yeah, but like
as he should.
Well, that's because
100%.
He's going for skater of the year.
I mean, let's
you know what I
just be-
mean?
yeah,
right.
but I like watching. I met him in person, and it was like I kind of thought just from watching his skating, I'm like, I bet he's kind of like a gnarly, gruff guy. And then you meet him in person, and he's like he came right up to me, introduced himself. And he was the nicest guy. I was like, this is not what I expected.
Soft-spoken.
Yes, my first impression of him was like, I like him. He's a good guy.
Yeah.
Like I got a very good gut feeling from him.
Yeah.
Me too. No, I love the movement right now. I think companies need the skater more than ever right now.
So here's why I think this is happening, and it's because of the downturn in skateboarding, right? We saw the biggest boom in skateboarding that we've ever seen. I call it like the great COVID skate boom.
Yeah.
2020, everybody and their dog got a skateboard. Kids couldn't do any activities. When the skate parks opened, they were the only thing people could do. So everybody reconnected or connected with it for the first time.
It actually backfired on skateboarding though.
Well, it did because everybody over-ordered, but it wasn't only in skateboarding. This happened across many industries.
Bikes,
I know people in bikes that the exact same thing happened to.
Yeah.
I remember like hoarding Indies and Spitfires. I was riding Indies a lot at the time, and I'm like,
Here he is with his trucks again.
yeah.
He loves his trucks.
That's what I was riding at the time a lot, right? And but I remember, I'd get a set of Spitfires, and I'm like, how am I going to get some more of these? What if I run out?
Right?
Yeah.
This guy's not hoarding toilet paper. He's hoarding Spitfires.
Yeah.
No, but it's interesting because it did kind of backfire on a lot of industries, but skateboarding is so small, man. A lot of people don't realize how small the industry is.
Well, we've got like warehouses and warehouses. Like I've been to every distributor in the area that I live in, and they're all experiencing the same thing. I've been to, wood shops. They're experiencing the same thing where there was just this massive over ordering, and then the bottom falls out and everybody's stuck with this product that they don't know what to do with. And beginner completes was like the worst one. Like I bet there's companies that beginner completes sank because they're sitting on warehouses full of beginner completes and nobody wants or needs them anymore.
It's so funny, man. You're very knowledgeable in just the skateboard industry. I love it. I think
I know a lot of people in it.
For
and
sure.
I like having conversations with them about it.
Right.
So that's all that is.
I mean, that's the worst if you have a product you over ordered and it's not like something that's good. You know what I mean? Like that, like for us, we over ordered on like certain shoes, but we were like, well, we over ordered, but at least it's something that sells over time.
Yeah.
So if you have one SKU that's like you over ordered on that and it's just not going to sell, that's you're like, oh my god.
I ran into a problem with. There was a period of time where I was actually trying to do a brand for a bit because somebody hit me up. He's like, hey, I'll do all the business end of it. You're basically product development and marketing, and I'm like, cool, right? Like, why not? I never had a big desire to have a skateboard company.
And you do have a following.
But I was like, this makes sense.
Community.
I always had the desire to try and create the things that I want to ride. But we started in the worst time. We started in 2020. And what ended up happening was like we would get samples and they were decent. And so we're like, okay, let's get the boards. And and we couldn't get them from all the big places. Like nobody would touch you, right? You just couldn't get boards.
Sure.
And so we were trying different places. We'd get some decent samples, and then the boards would come, and we're like, what is this? This is like not what we ordered. I don't like them. I don't like riding them. And I was like, and I can't sell them because I have to be honest. My whole channel is based on being honest about the product.
Sure.
How am I going to, and I realized something, and that's where like in skateboarding, if you get a whole bunch of stuff that's like not right, not as you expected, you're kind of stuck selling it. And that's where the customer's ignorance is actually going to come in as a benefit.
Right.
And you have to be able to just swallow that and follow through with it or lose your shirt on the inventory. Like you have to do one or the other.
Yeah.
And I think in a lot of cases, people will actually just sell the product.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Most people don't actually know the difference, but I did, and my channel was based on knowing and talking about the differences and things. So when I didn't get what I wanted or the product was inferior, I was honest and it didn't sell.
What'd you do with it?
I don't know. I mean, poor Eric might still be sitting with a lot of it.
Oh my God.
No, but I said like, I can't do this. It's not going to work. So I suggested like fire sale, sell it all.
Oh, just get rid of it.
I want to be clear that he actually has a lot of good stuff still.
Sure.
Right? There's good stuff on there too, but he might still have some of the few products that I wasn't super stoked on.
So would you ever do another company again?
Probably not.
No.
Like I said, I like to be in the background.
Skateboarding's tough.
Well, part of it was like I had to try and find people to do the art, and there was all this like I just didn't at the end of the day want to do that. I wasn't interested. I'm not like artistically minded, and trying to figure out what's going to go on a board and sell without it being like totally cliche or just really crappy. It's hard.
Oh yeah.
I give a lot of credit to the people who put art on skateboards and the people who put good art on skateboards. It's very hard to figure out.
It is.
Yeah.
So, at the end of the day, like I said, because I didn't have a strong desire to actually have a brand, when it got hard, I didn't want to do it.
Right.
That's how you can find out if you want to do something, when it gets hard.
True. Very true.
Yep.
I mean, it got hard around here. We're still here.
I'm still hard.
We're still here. Raj is hard. Raj stays hard.
He's working working hard back there.
Yeah, it's interesting. YouTube.
Yeah, I know. YouTube, strange beast.
Well, I love it because, I think like for somebody like you who was like, and don't be offended at what I'm about to say or something, but it's like, you weren't in the industry, right? But then this YouTube channel like pulled you in and like you gained a community and like you got closer to the industry, right? Which I think is awesome because like, the old saying is like you don't need to be good to like love skateboarding. Not saying that you're not good, but
No,
you know what I
get
mean?
you're saying. I
Like-
fully acknowledge that I'm not like at that elite level of ability. I was good when I was good for 12 and I'm good for 42.
God bless us, man. No, but I think it's rad though, because you can create this like anything you want nowadays, you know? And like YouTube has like lent you that platform.
People definitely respond to your love for something.
Yes.
If it's something they love.
There you go.
Or you can even, help them love it more.
Do you feel any type of like weight on your shoulders for what you do? Like product wise or this or that, or like, oh, people are really going to like listen to what I have to say.
Here's what I feel the biggest weight for.
Go ahead.
Is the most important thing to me is not, it's important to me that like, I like that I've helped people maybe enjoy their skateboard more by helping them fine tune it. I actually don't like that I've helped people go down rabbit holes because I know how much it sucks. And I'm like, if you want to watch all those old videos and try every different thing, go for it. But I would say tread lightly and don't go too deep too fast.
Sure. Yes.
But so giving them some technical knowledge so they can actually have a better time with the products that are available, great. The most important thing though is helping people, like inspiring them to get on their board and have a good time.
That's what it's
But
all
do so
about.
responsibly, because I've read a lot of times, Ben, I tried skating for the first time in 20 years and I broke my ankle.
Oh my
yeah.
I hate that
We don't
comment.
get that comment,
I
but
hate that comment.
You know what's funny about our viewership and our community is like people will be like, "Hey, I'm 50 years old and I've just bought my board. I haven't skated in 20 years, and now I'm going skating with my son or daughter."
I
And
get
like
that all the time.
I'm
bro.
like, dude, we just sit here and talk about skateboarding, and that in turn like makes you want to go out and skate.
Just talking about skateboarding.
That is crazy
Really.
to me.
It brings back memories for them.
Oh
you know
my
what I mean?
God.
Like
Definitely.
hearing these stories from the people they grew up watching.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Do you
So I do feel a bit of a responsibility. Like I'm sorry that I'm not doing that for people. I do post clips on Instagram sometimes, so they get to watch that a little bit and get stoked. But yeah, I do actually feel a sense of responsibility and and I'm sorry that I'm not doing that all the time right now. But
listen, we're
Taking some time for
little
me.
hiatus.
As you should, bro.
hiatus.
As
You,
you
you said
should.
you're filming stuff out here
Yeah.
right now, so
Yeah.
we're going to hopefully see some more stuff on your YouTube channel. How long has it been since you posted that last video?
that was months ago.
Months
And
ago?
I've been good to my word. I haven't posted anything except for
know.
one short.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Posted a short, huh?
Just of like whatever tricks I did in October or something.
Okay. Okay.
Do you ever have anyone or have you ever fanned out in other people through like skateboarding or YouTube world?
I don't know if I fan out easily, but I'm pretty sure if I met Costin, I'd probably start vibrating. Like I'd be like shaking.
Really? If you like
Probably.
walked in the door right now, you'd
Yeah.
be like, oh.
Yeah, Costin is like for sure my all-time favorite.
That's dope.
And Carol is right up there too.
Same here.
Yeah, but
He's my favorite, Costin.
I do think I feel the same. For the longest time, I would see Costin at the Berrics, and I felt really uncomfortable. Like just for the fact of like, dude, you're at Costin.
Funny
I can't
thing
talk
is-
to you
Yeah,
normal.
like-
I can't talk to you.
Funny thing
normally.
is he's uncomfortable
He
too.
feels the same.
Mount Rushmore, Ben De Gros, Mount Rushmore. Who do we got on there?
you mean like skaters?
Yeah. You name four, you leave four off.
Is it
but-
four?
Yeah.
Four?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
You already named one.
Well, there's Costin, Carol.
Okay.
It's funny. I'm really attached to like the Goldfish era of stuff, but there's also the whole world section. Like my two favorite videos are Goldfish and 20 Shot. Those are my two favorite videos.
Ooh, 20
nice.
shots.
Yeah.
Great.
So like if I kind of want to have five because like
You can have an honorable mention.
I would say like Costin, Carol, Mariano. I mean, Kareem's parts were so good, but then there's also Gino,
Yeah.
right? Like I watch Gino's clips because like I'm like, okay, I got to go a little bit faster, and I need to like try and do this a little more relaxed. Like
Style's everything.
yeah,
Bro.
Yeah.
I've been, I watched like there's an Instagram clip of Gino doing, a few tricks in Copenhagen from like 6 years ago, and he does like frontside, nose slide pop outs where he's like clearing 6 feet after the ledge, and that inspired me to like try to learn how to pop out of a frontside nose slide back to regular, and I'm doing them all the time. Like it's my new favorite trick.
Love that.
It's just from watching that clip. I'm not saying I'm,
Welsh with the no slide pop outs too.
yeah, I'm not saying I'm doing them like him, but like
Dude, front side that's not easy.
I've
Popping
been-
out forward like that,
It is
right?
hard.
Yeah,
it
it's
is
super hard.
It is hard. The
Yeah.
trick is to go fast, make sure it's really waxed, and don't expect to slide long, because that's like that's how you make it hard. You kind of just like go in and then pop, and you keep doing them. It gets easier and easier. Yeah, that was
Come
one.
on,
He did one
Gino.
right there.
Come on, look at this guy.
Unless you're Mosaic Conan, he could hold it for days.
Yep.
And come out straight.
Yeah, he could.
What's
He
your
could.
really quickly? What's your age demographic on your YouTube? On your skate YouTube
dude?
channel?
It's all over the board.
Really?
Yeah, it's a lot of. There's a lot of teenagers.
Okay.
Definitely, there's a lot of teenagers. It surprises me how often I run into people who are teenagers and in their 20s. But I have a solid backing of people 30 to 50.
Okay.
Yeah.
The reason I asked was because we were just talking about Gino, we're talking about Costin, we're
Mm-hmm.
talking about these OGs, we're talking about, and you never really dove into kind of the opinion based stuff on YouTube, where I think that you can really like tell these why Costin is good, why these people are, why they mean something to
right.
this
Could,
industry.
but here's why. It takes
ahead.
so long to edit videos with B-roll. And to search up every clip.
It's true.
I did.
But
a
I think
couple
you could help the young generation, though.
I did a couple videos. I got one, like the history of crooked grinds. I dove
Okay.
into that. I did, history of heel flips.
yeah.
Those were actually, in my opinion, those are two of my best videos. Except for the music, and I did like a little bit of music to one of them, and I didn't like, looking back, I don't like it. I talked about that a bit, where you look for a song and it's all garbage, and then eventually one of them's like slightly less garbage, and you're like, oh, it's not that bad. You start editing to it, you get attached to it, it's your baby, and then you're like, you can't tell that it just actually sucks.
You're like, this song's pretty good.
Yeah, exactly.
Try to
Sounds
make
nice.
it good, and then it's just
after,
not good.
After spending like 45 minutes on Artlist and hearing nothing but ear shrapnel, one of them just doesn't hurt that bad.
Right.
Do you get weird, or do you get like negative comments?
Yeah, for sure.
Really?
They're not a lot, and I kind of have a strategy for avoiding a lot of them, and I do this on both channels.
Go ahead.
When I post, I read the comments after posting within about 24 hours, and after that, I don't really go into them.
Gotcha.
Because that's when you're getting your supportive fan base. Now, I don't want to try and live in an echo chamber. Like,
Yep.
I hear the negative comments, and if they're not just stupid, I do actually try to digest them and see where they're coming from.
Constructive criticism.
Yeah, but I'd be totally lying if I was one of those people like, yeah, comments don't affect me. For sure they do.
Yeah.
For sure they
Right.
do. But I almost have a policy of like almost never responding. I can't remember a single comment I didn't respond to.
Yeah. If I respond to something, it'll be just a quirky, like,
Yeah.
sarcastic type thing where
But
I'm
I
just like,
never
oh, I need
argue.
to have fun.
Yeah,
No. That's
yeah.
a whole different. That's a
Yeah.
whole different.
But you
beast.
respond to every comment?
No, never.
I was about to say.
No, I've had
That's
to.
a lot.
What about
I had-
positive ones?
You mean responding?
Yeah.
I try. I usually just do the, like heart, right?
Okay. Yeah.
And if it's somebody that I can tell has been there for a long time, like some of the people that have maybe been there since the start, I love to, respond by name because I remember them. I'm grateful for their support, but I also can't remember everybody.
yeah.
But no, I'm super grateful for the people that have watched over the years and who do spread that positivity. But I'm also grateful for the people who are honest because there is something to learn and grow from there.
Yeah.
There's something to be said for making your comment receivable, and
I
people
agree.
often don't do that on YouTube.
Yeah.
But you just got to try and sift.
What
Well,
about
I think just making, like taking the comments for face value sometimes, it's like you can learn a lot, man. I learned a lot
Sure.
in the early days of the 9 Club, man. I learned a lot of what I should do and what I shouldn't do. And
Yep.
I'm still learning, and I'm still trying to work on like not going like, yeah, all right, okay. But like it's a process, right? But, you get the comment like, Chris sucks. You're like, okay. Please tell me why.
Yeah.
I would love to know why.
Can you
Like,
elaborate?
elaborate, and maybe I can entertain this, right? But like, constructive criticism, I take that all day long.
The comments are the unfiltered look at how people are receiving your content, and so it can be a little raw and jarring sometimes. But it is, as you say, it's probably the most important thing you can read. So it's like one of those unavoidable things, even though it stings sometimes, or I don't like it. It's very important.
Well, if somebody, if people were like quote unquote roasting your videos, like you could take a positive out of that and be like, oh, okay, this is what they don't like. This is what they like. You're getting like feedback in real time.
Yeah, and to a point though, right?
Yeah,
There's
100%.
Yeah, there's
always
there's
to
like
a
to a
point.
point because you also don't want to like so conform your videos to avoid negative comments that
Totally.
there's nothing worth watching.
Yeah, I'm not saying that you just completely switch, but there are some good,
I'm sure you weren't. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you could also just delete it.
I actually don't delete any comments.
Neither do
Nothing.
we.
The only time I have ever
can,
deleted
though.
comments was
You
when
can,
it was like super weird, out of left field, like either crazy sexist or crazy racist.
Yeah.
Just like this person is a lunatic, and there's like no reason for them to be throwing that around.
Well, YouTube
but it has
has
to be pretty bad.
Right.
YouTube has keywords that they'll put in your
The hidden comments.
the hidden comment stuff,
Oh, they'll just throw them all the way to the
but
bottom.
YouTube, when we first started this, we had a contact at YouTube, and they gave us a whole list of words, to like put in the blog, like things. So if you leave a comment on the 9 Club and then you don't see it anymore, we're not deleting it. You said something crazy, and YouTube said, we're putting this over here.
Right.
I don't have the time to filter what people say, and they have the right to say what they want to say.
Totally, but you then don't come in our house and write some racist ass
Yeah,
shit.
that's what I'm talking about. It's something that's super inappropriate.
Yeah.
It's just like unnecessary. Yeah, bye.
Yeah,
Right.
like
Exactly.
somebody's just starting some stuff because they spend all of their time watching, inflammatory YouTube videos that do nothing but outrage them, and then they bring that energy into your video
Exactly.
because one person said something that triggered them, which wasn't hard to do in the first place.
Right.
Dude, I love it, man. I just want to. I mean, I'm stoked you're here, dude, and I'm glad we made this happen because I do like I enjoy your videos, and I don't think
appreciate that.
maybe sometimes you don't know like who's watching your videos, but like I watch them, and I'm sure a lot of other pros watch them, and a lot
have
of
a
other people
tendency-
you respect.
I have a tendency to think that people don't watch or don't like. I definitely don't. I don't overestimate who's watching stuff. The first time that I was like, I'm not going to do the channel anymore, after I tore my meniscus, I had so many messages from people, and a lot of it was like friends from the past that reached out, and I'm like, you watch my videos? And I had, like there was a small handful of people that were or are professional skaters were like, you're not gonna, and I'm like, what?
Yeah,
I was like, I can't, I'm like, that was when I realized like, no, I'm connecting with like, I'm not just connecting with people who are like flitting through and experiencing skateboarding. I was connecting with people who were lifelong skateboarders, whether they were riding their board or not, but they had that lifelong connection to it. And I was like, okay, that is important.
yeah.
I understand that it's people who have had the same experience with this thing.
I think we're on the same page because people will come up that I've looked up to, and they're like, yeah, watch the show. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
You watch the show? Like, that is crazy to
In
me.
your guys' case, I feel like everybody would watch your show. Maybe not everyone, but as soon as there's a person that they want to know about. And I feel like you've interviewed so many people that there can't be anyone involved in skateboarding that doesn't look up to or hasn't connected with somebody.
Right.
So I feel like your net is cast pretty wide in that regard.
Yeah, and I just love what we're doing too, because not only do I get to sit down and talk to people like yourself, but also my heroes and just, and hear the stories coming out of their mouth that I've always wondered about. But it's also just like, it's just fun to like the kids nowadays that are 12 that don't care about the past. Maybe they'll turn 20, 21, 22, and our episodes will be there.
Yeah, well, I
if
was
they
one
want
of
to, if they
those.
want to learn about Andrew Reynolds, or they want to learn about Lance Mountain or something.
I mean, I was one of those kids,
Yeah.
right? Like I thought.
I think we all were.
Yeah, especially though in going from like the old school to the new school era, right? That 90s one.
True.
Because it changed so much, and you're like, there's these old ramp dudes that can't flip their boards, and they, like these guys. Like, I thought all those old videos were stupid. I didn't get it, right?
For sure.
They had a
Me
purpose,
too.
bro.
And now I watch them all on YouTube.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right? Like I'll watch a Natus part, all that stuff. Like
That's the bridge to get us to where we're at. You know what I mean? We all had to have these stages of skateboarding.
Yeah.
that
Well,
are-
now I can appreciate the evolution of it.
Yeah.
And it's like so interesting.
Yeah, the fact that I always thought Lance Mountain was just a 4-on-1 guy for so long.
That's
I was
so
like, oh
funny.
yeah, he fucking skated.
Yeah, you know what I love watching? You know what I love
So
watching
good.
is the 80s vert pros that actually like made a solid effort. Like I showed my buddy here who I showed him Feasters, Tony Hawk. I was like, check that out. Tony was ripping.
Yeah.
Skating straight.
And we used to, we'd give it a hard time because like some of the tricks you could see that he's really struggling with, like some of the more technical, say, switch tricks or stuff. But a lot of the time he's actually doing really good tricks. There's like a bench down a 2-stair and he's like nose blunting it, like 180 nose grind reverts, and he's like, he ollies the big stairs next to the Carlsbad gap. He fakey ollies the other, like I wouldn't do any of that stuff.
We just had Willie Santos on the show, and he was talking about skating with Tony, street skating. What did he back 5-0 the handrail or something?
He 5-0'd a rail.
5-0
Yeah,
the round handrail, 5 or 6 stair.
I bet there's a lot of stuff that we never heard about or saw that Tony did.
For sure.
Totally. Here we go, right here. Look at old Tony.
Yeah.
Go ahead,
so,
Tony.
So I actually had this video. I had this VHS that was a bunch of burned videos, and
So good.
this was one of the videos. I think there was a Planet Earth video on there. It also had the Tim and Henry promo, which I used to watch that in like
Legendary.
96, 97.
Best video, bro.
And like I would go and like try these hard things on curbs when no one was watching. Like all the like cab to front noses and like all, because I think in 96 around then it wasn't that creative at that point yet, right? We were still just mastering the basic ledge tricks. And in the Tim and Henry promo, there was like, it was almost like all these forgotten things. It was like, oh, this is actually where we could go.
Wait, what year did it come out?
Tim and Henry
Yeah.
promo?
Like
92.
92.
Yeah.
Dude, we were going in hyper speed back then.
Yeah.
Like the progression
That
was
right there
crazy.
definitely was a very
I kind of want to talk about why
Rare
Goldfish is
stage.
one of my favorite videos.
Please.
So Goldfish was when like style started to matter. How you did your trick started to matter. So you go to like virtual reality, you can see some of it's really clean and good, and some of it's still pretty sloppy.
Depends
then-
on whose part you're
Yeah.
watching.
Yes, it
for
does.
sure.
It
Yeah,
does.
yeah.
It does. But once you go to Goldfish, there's very few tricks that aren't clean, and you can see like the form was starting to become perfected.
Okay.
Yeah.
And we kind of had to go there before it could go then get big again.
True.
Yeah.
It's one of my favorite videos. Like I would watch that video every single day.
a
That
good one.
and
Yeah.
I don't think I owned a copy of 20 Shot.
Okay.
But yeah, those are
What
my
about the
favorite.
listen video, man?
Let's listen.
Exactly.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
No, I'm just
Good.
kidding.
I love that answer.
Dude, like my switch heel flips are based off of Costin's Goldfish part. When he's wearing the green etnies and he's doing them up and down the stairs.
Yes,
Yeah.
of course.
That's how you do a switch heel flip. That's how I do it. And so I learned them from that.
amazing.
This is look
It's
at,
funny. I feel
Carol-
look at
Carol's-
Costin right here. Come on, bro.
That's the wrong angle to film. Oh no, that can be the right angle to film. that
Dub
trick,
sitting on the
but-
bumper, not even skating.
Well, filming wasn't really a priority.
I already got my clip.
The filming back then wasn't like, oh, I didn't get the right angle. Let's do it again. It was just like, just film whatever. And
That's one thing I learned.
One
from,
and done's.
yeah.
One thing I learned from
Frosty,
filming
man.
the YouTube videos on a tripod was what angles make the trick look the best.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, like you do a nollie frontside kickflip, and there's one angle that can emphasize the fold, and
Oh,
there's
yeah.
one angle that will make it look lower and rocket.
It's so
Yeah.
true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So true.
That was a
Yeah,
beautiful
oh,
switch
that was
back.
nuts. God, that was beautiful.
Yeah, this is the one. Yeah, you're totally right. Where
Yeah.
tricks were getting perfected
Yeah.
and like done
And,
well.
and starting to like pop everything high and
And then Mouse
Nah, he killed
and
it.
Trilogy was the one video that was like, okay, everything's taller now. Everything's like even more perfect, and the clothing all started to fit together
yeah.
more.
Mouse was great, but I liked Trilogy better because I liked the music better.
Okay.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
In trilogy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like Trilogy better.
Well, there was
Definitely
way
got
more.
good
There's
music.
technically more music in that in Trilogy. So there was like three different brands, or technically four
Yeah,
different brands,
yeah.
but so many parts in that one.
It was like majority rap, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
was.
there was
It
some
was.
Jimmy
And it was
Cliff
also-
in there.
There's the classic
saying-
golden
Except
hair.
Except for the prime section.
What's the prime section?
No, I don't know. It wasn't that.
That was
a
20 shot.
20 shot. My
Yeah,
bad.
yeah,
Yeah, that one usually got fast forward, except for Markovich.
It's crazy, right?
Markovich is.
Oh
Oh,
my
no,
God.
that's Fight Fire with Fire.
Dude, to
Tray
me,
flip off the
Prime
Carlsbad.
didn't even belong in the World's Camp.
It was a weird thing.
Weirdest
It's just
company.
some-
Especially
things
there was
happen.
even a vert skater in there. Yeah.
Crumb, yeah. Listen,
Yeah.
Ben De Gros.
Yeah, it sounds like we're wrapping up.
amazing.
Yeah.
No, this has been, I mean, you can come back anytime, man. Once you're in the 9 Club, you can come back
in.
anytime. The door's always open. It's fun to just talk skate with you.
Yeah,
you know?
I think, we covered so much YouTube stuff, but we didn't cover. We could definitely do a whole other thing about like skate stuff.
It'd be rad because like I love having Professor Schmidt on the show, and if you ever line up and you guys could come on together, that'd be fun, man.
That'd be interesting.
that would be
yeah.
super
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
We can
For
argue
sure.
about wheelbase and height.
Dude, Professor
We can argue
Schmidt.
about how to measure a board.
Dude.
Man, I need a nap after hanging out with Schmidt. Dude. He's woo, I don't know how he does it. He keeps going and going like the Energizer rabbit.
Got a
man.
lot of energy, bro.
That was a long one, yeah.
Energizer Rabbit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
That's just
Not the bunny, not the bunny.
Energizer. He's not. He's a rabbit.
I've never heard of
He identifies as rabbit now.
Love Schmidt though. He's awesome,
best.
man.
I'm hoping to meet up with him again while I'm here.
Oh,
But I want to just skate this time.
What are we filming out here? Are we filming skating, or are we actually filming like a segment like for your YouTube?
Well, no,
Both.
it's
just skating.
Yeah, I think it's
Oh.
going to be an kind of overview. I'm not sure how in depth it's going to get. I talked way more than I expected to today on camera, but I think it's going to be an overview of the trip of the
Okay,
things we do.
cool,
Yeah,
cool.
Amazing.
yeah.
Well, you didn't film anything here.
Not
I
yet.
guess so. Oh, not yet. Okay.
We're not done yet.
What do you film with? What kind of camera?
Usually I use it's just a Sony, I don't know, VR or something. It's not a super fancy one. It's a camcorder. Because I don't like getting into lenses and stuff. I wanted something that was dummy proof. It will just zoom in, like it gets the shot every time.
Uh-huh.
You can put it in almost anybody's hands, and it works every time.
Okay.
So I don't get into lenses. I'm not like one of those camera guys that swaps all this stuff out and tries to get I don't even know the word properly, like the bokeh or something.
Just a little handy cam. Just a little handy cam.
Get the
it's
job
a
done.
decent one.
A decent one. Yeah.
Like it cost a few grand. That and a good mic. I need something that gets the
Do
shot
you get
every
it?
time.
Do you wear a lav or do you do a shotgun?
The lav is the best for nice sound,
Yep.
but I won't wear that skating.
Yeah, I definitely think sound is so important in videos.
I underestimated. My first 6 months of videos have terrible sound because nobody was watching, and I was like, I can't justify spending money on a mic. But now I regret it because a lot of those early videos did better than all the other ones. So for anybody who's wanting to get into it, I would say do not underestimate sound.
Yeah.
It's probably the most important thing. It's more important than video.
And nowadays, especially too, it's very affordable.
Yeah.
Within, you can spend a couple $100, get a Rode little mic or whatever, get a little lav, and
the
and you're
Rode
good.
wireless mic
Yeah.
and a lav. That's what I use for all the construction videos.
Okay. Okay. Can we give you some 9 Club stuff to take back? Do you have enough room in your
I
bag?
hope I get a coffee cup.
Oh yeah, Kelly, we do the honors.
Make
bro.
sure he gets a coffee.
Get a coffee cup. We got a we got some new merch coming in, man. Not yet though, dude. You were a couple days early.
Okay. That's fine.
But it'll be out right now if anybody's watching. So the 9 Club back.
Please go check it out.
Hey man, I'm here
No.
till next Tuesday.
This has been. Oh yeah. Oh, we'll send you. Come back
We
by,
should have a skate session.
dude. You said that the slappies hurt your knee.
I got some wheels I think that I could put on that will help me skate the curbs again.
Okay.
Should we choose to do that?
You
I was
should.
on my regular tiny hard 99 wheels and I hated it.
You were on the what?
Those are just regular 99s and I did
Okay.
not like skating the curbs.
Need some dragons.
Yeah,
yeah.
but Raj
Dragons?
got some for you. I'm sure
I
he does.
have something that's comparable.
Dragons were too soft for me.
He might not like the dragons.
I made a video about them.
Yeah.
Oh.
Everybody did.
Then he does. If he made the video,
It's so funny because like Roger got the this is just a true skate fan, and like he got the wheels, loved them, and was like, I need to tell people about
Yeah.
these. And you right, Raj?
Pretty much.
And you
I-
did the video, and it's so funny because people just think that they're giving him money, they're paid, it's
man.
a 9 Club spot, like it's
I never thought that, by the way.
Oh, you didn't? Okay.
No, I never
That's
thought
good.
that. No, and you know what? After 2 minutes of skating the curbs, I was like, oh, I get it. This
That's-
ground sucks.
It does.
Like, no wonder that was a life-changing
Oh, it was a
experience.
life-changing experience.
Yeah.
For sure.
yeah.
Yeah.
But it's
Yeah.
just funny how the internet thinks that as soon as you are praising something, like there's
Yeah.
money exchanging
People love to
hands.
assume the worst.
Yeah,
They really do.
It makes them feel good.
Dude,
In like a
man.
bad, soul-crushing way.
So odd, very odd, but that's life.
Leave a comment below, man. You know what I'm saying? How did you like this episode? You know, let Ben know, huh? Also,
They will.
let Ben know to start up his YouTube channel. I hope you started again, man. Like,
I'm not saying never. There will be some things coming out. It just might be like intermittent posting.
cool.
No regular schedule.
There
That's
you go.
fine. I think sometimes you need that. You need
It's
to
your
have that
break, bro. It's your
freedom.
break.
Well, and like I said, I'm beholden to the other channel. I can't
Yes.
stop. I still have to put out something like roughly once a week there.
Gotcha.
So the skate one was the only place I had some
Time,
some
leeway.
room.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a good CPM over there on that Carpenter channel, huh?
You already know.
Ben, first of all, brother, hey, thank you
Thank
so much for stopping
you,
by.
Thank you for
Pleasure.
coming by, bro.
We
really.
got
Thank
the 9 Club. Look at this. It's an army green, bro.
That's
the
a nice one.
coffee one. This fits right in your cup holder.
That's a really nice one.
Yeah.
This will get used.
And then we got the 9 Club. We got a little logo here.
I like it,
Here.
actually.
You like that logo?
Yeah, I like it.
It's good, right?
I like it, yeah.
Hopefully that doesn't break in your suitcase. We have other stuff in the back too. We got water bottles and stuff. So after the show, you know, we'll hook you up with some stuff. But that Yeti one is, bro. I have
good
like 80 of them.
I've
I've taken all of them.
Yeah.
I like. I drink a lot of tea, and so this is gonna get used.
What's your tea of preference?
I like Earl Grey. I especially love Persian teas.
You like the Earl Grey? It's
Yeah.
really bitter.
You gotta try Persian teas.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is it loose leaf or bags?
Loose leaf Persian teas will change your life if you like.
Why?
Tea. They're just really good.
Okay.
You notice I like kind of refined things. I like to get into it, and those taste really good. They've been drinking tea for thousands of years.
Yeah,
they do a good
should
job.
be good. They should be good at it.
Yeah. So go to any Persian grocery store and get some of the good stuff.
Okay.
Yep.
I drink.
I'm gonna try it just because you upselled it right there. I'm gonna try it.
Ahmad.
Oh, yeah.
Ahmad teas.
That's what it is.
Yeah, AHMAD is my favorite ones.
Are you doing an ad right now?
No. Yeah, totally. Sponsored by Ahmad.
Getting too mad right now.
Free tea for life.